goals against in the league. Ty Keogh, Gert Wietrzykowski, Nico Roman, Terry Moore across the back. The ball in play. And Fort Lauderdale's Rabalski with it up front. However, they lose it over the far sideline, so throw in San Diego. Jerry will be talking about it all night, but it is indeed a big one for the Sockers. They have been eliminated each of the last 3 years in the playoffs, 2 of the last 3 in this round. All right, the ball comes up the left to Hugo Sanchez. He's marked there by Roy Wigemanson. Ball comes over the near sideline. Toros Kaburchian is our referee tonight with Ed Bellion and Angelo Brastis, the linesman. If we are a bit out of breath, it's because we're a bit out of breath. We have just run up the bleachers to our position here from our sideline opening position. San Diego, as we look at the field, attacking right to left. And a free kick. Ty Keogh takes it to Manu Sanon. Tibor Jameri picks up the defense. Sanon gets around him on the left, crosses for Sanchez and misses. Oh, a scoring opportunity for San Diego early on. Ball played over the near sideline by Peter O'Sullivan. Will be a Fort Lauderdale throw-in, but the Sockers, who plan to play a bit of a cautious game tonight and take advantage of their abilities on defense, had a scoring opportunity early on.
John, I guess we'll have to mention it now. The big change in the lineup from San Diego, obviously, Leonardo Cuellar on the bench for the first time this year. Taking his place is Peter O'Sullivan. Also, Terry Moore in there, replacing Doc Lawson.
All right, Rodney Bush plays it up on the right. He was trying to get it up to Gene Wilrich. Goes over the far sideline. Wilrich will throw it in. Goes over the end line now. Fort Lauderdale touched it last, so it'll be a corner kick for Wilrich. Gene Wilrich will be taking all the corner kicks tonight. He's kicking from the right corner as we look at the field here. Right foots it, a long one. Wanted to get it across to Terry Moore, who was breaking in from the left side, but it goes over the end line. It will be a Fort Lauderdale goal kick.
John, it's very interesting so early in the game. Ron Newman said we're going to play a little more cautiously because in this type of game, it's you don't want to give up that early goal. You want to try and get on top, but you don't want to make any mistakes and let them break through defensively. But so far, the Sox have been in control.
All right. Van Beveren boots it all the way up where Ty Keogh meets it and tries to get it back in play for San Diego. At midfield on the left side, Peter O'Sullivan with it. Feeds Manu Sanon just inside Fort Lauderdale's 35. Tibor Jameri defensively there for the Strikers over the near sideline. Well, they say Sanon touched it last, so the Strikers take a quick throw in. We are at Lockhart Stadium. It's a small place. It's a high school football stadium. Witness the white lines on our field. But there are close to 20,000 people jammed in here tonight. Van Beveren boots it forward for Fort Lauderdale. Francisco Marinho can't control it. Up front for the Strikers. Marinho with Gerd Miller, along with Steve Rabalski. Marinho coming out of the midfield. Ray Hudson, who got one of the goals the other night in San Diego in the midfield, along with the great Teofilo Cabillas. Ball at midfield now. San Diego in control. Wilrich approaches the penalty arc, feeds Sanon ahead, and it is swept back by John Pott to Jan Van Beveren, and Manu or Hugo Sanchez is down. Hugo Sanchez.
I think that's
Gene Wilrich. Or is it Wilrich? It's Wilrich. Gene Wilrich apparently kicked as he came in from the right side. He played the ball ahead to Sanon in the penalty box. He was dumped from behind by one of the Fort Lauderdale defenders, Colin Fowles, and he came up with some sort of a leg injury. I want to remind you, for fine accommodations and dining, try the Sands Hotel and Ribcage Restaurant, 5550 Kearny Mesa Road. The Ribcage features live entertainment Thursday through Saturday evenings. All right, Wilrich is up now, and we are going to have a San Diego free kick. Center of the field, just outside the penalty arc. Fort Lauderdale setting up about a 5-man wall out in front of Jan Van Beveren. Sanchez over the wall, hits the pipe. The ball bounces out, and Jameri kicks it over the end line, so it'll be a Sockers corner kick. Hugo Sanchez would have had one. It hit the pipe on the right side.
Boy, an absolutely beautiful shot by Hugo Sanchez. It's usually Leonardo Cuellar that takes all the free kicks, but Hugo did a very fine job right there.
Wilrich, the corner kick, going long. Terry Moore heads it, goes over the crossbar, and it'll be a Fort Lauderdale goal kick. If you've joined us late, Leonardo Cuellar not starting tonight. He is not injured. Coach Ron Newman felt tactically and strategically, based on what he saw in the first game, that the Sockers would be better off a little different alignment. So he's put Peter O'Sullivan in Cuellar's spot in the midfield, along with Julie V and Rodney Bush. Zanon, Sanchez, and Wilrich up front. Van Beveren kicks it out for Fort Lauderdale. The Strikers as yet have not really had an offensive chance in the Sockers' defensive zone. Peter O'Sullivan with it, center circle for San Diego. A right wing ball for Terry Moore coming up from the back, can't control it, over the far sideline, throw in Strikers. As we told you at the top of the show, no one has ever won or lost at home, then gone on the road to win two and advance to Soccer Bowl. And that's what we're here tonight for, ladies and gentlemen, to find out who will face the New York Cosmos in RFK Stadium in Washington on September 23rd. Soccer Bowl for the NASL Championship. The Cosmos defeating the Los Angeles Aztecs 3-1 today. Giorgio Canaglia with 3 goals, all 3 of them, 16 in all in the playoffs for Canaglia. All right, San Diego trying to win it back from Fort Lauderdale, and successfully so momentarily in the midfield. Now Rivulski has it, feeds it ahead. Mourinho coming up out of the midfield, tries to get it in the penalty arc to a charging striker, Ray Hudson. And San Diego able to clear it away. Mourinho again at the San Diego 35, feeds it ahead to Jameri, overlapping from the back line. He crossed for Mueller's save. Volkmar Gross intercepted that cross, throws it out quickly, and let's see if the Sox can go on the counterattack. Now Fort Lauderdale broke that one up. We're going to have another San Diego goal kick. As the Sox We group will take a break here. This is San Diego Soccer's playoff action.
I can ad lib one. I can ad lib it if he wants to.
All right. All right, John DeMont with Jerry Epstein here at Lockhart Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. We're scoreless in the early going here. Fort Lauderdale with the ball. Here goes Francisco Mourinho, fine Brazilian player, trying to get an attack going for Fort Lauderdale, just coming into San Diego territory on the right side. Now to Cabillas, back to Mourinho once again. Now Ray Hudson comes through the center circle into San Diego territory, marked by Julie V. Peter O'Sullivan coming over there to help out. Jameri overlapping Fort Lauderdale, coming up the right side from his fullback spot. Loses it. And we are going to have a foul called on Ty Keogh, I believe, over there, Jerry.
I think that tie on that play was a little over-aggressive. It almost seemed as if Gameri had gotten rid of the ball, and it looked like the Sockers were going to take it back when he committed that foul. So Ron Newman was stressing patience before the game tonight, and they'll have to show a little bit more.
Ray Hudson will take the free kick for the Strikers. Ty Keogh and Julie V set up a 2-man wall just on the right side of the San Diego penalty box. Hudson looping it for Gerd Mueller, and Volkmar Gross came out and saved it. Want to remind you, the announcers for this broadcast were selected by and are paid by the San Diego Sockers Incorporated. Also want to remind you that any use of the picture, descriptions, and accounts of this game, the broadcast granted under rights granted by the San Diego Sockers, is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of the San Diego Sockers Incorporated. Manu Sanon, top of the box by the spot, feeds it ahead to O'Sullivan. Sliding tackle there. by Colin Fowles, and he almost tackled it right into his own goal, but it missed it just on the right side of the post there. Oh, that was a close one. Again, San Diego with a near scoring opportunity.
An alert Manu Sanan on that play stole the ball as the strikers were coming upfield and started that. A good chance.
Wilridge corner kick going short for Sanchez. Can't get to it. The ball's cleared out of there by John Pott as he brings it out of the Fort Lauderdale penalty box. We played near 9 minutes. We are scoreless here at Lockhart Stadium, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Stadium situated just next to the New York Yankee training complex. Gerd Miller with it now just inside San Diego territory. Feeds the overlapping Tibor Gameri coming up the right side inside San Diego's 35. Gets around Nico Roman. Rodney Bush or Gert Wieczykowski picks up the defense. Little ham and eggs in the penalty box there with Roman and Wieczykowski. Tibor with the ball again. Gameri trying to get through Bush and O'Sullivan. Ty Keogh clears it out of the penalty box. Gavillas to Mourinho, and then he tried to loop it into the penalty box for Gavillas, who was making a run down in from the right side, and it was cleared away by the San Diego defense. 2 shots so far for the Sockers. 3 corner kicks. No shots recorded yet by Fort Lauderdale. Ray Hudson, right of the San Diego penalty box, down in the corner. Ball knocked over the near sideline by Peter O'Sullivan. Quick throw in by Hudson to Cabillas. Cabillas, one of the goals the other night. Hudson, the other one in San Diego. They call Cabillas king of the midfield. Gerd Mueller with it. Well, that's Fogarty. Now he feeds Colin Fowles to Francisco Mourinho. Try to get it to Mueller in the penalty arc. Mueller has it, looking for some place to put it. Goes to Mourinho. Cabillas running in, shoots high, hits the pipe, comes out, cleared away by Ty Keogh. Oh, there was an opportunity for the strikers, and only luck saved the San Diego Sockers that time. Fort Lauderdale still with the ball. Rabalski tried to bend it in. It's finally cleared away by the San Diego defense. Still their defensive zone. Now Rodney Bush comes up to get it at his own 35. Foul was called on Rabalski. Free kick San Diego. Their end, however. Got to get the ball out of there, Jerry.
Well, all you can do is call it 1-for-1. Hugo Sanchez earlier in the game hitting the post on a free kick, and here hitting the post by the strikers. So it's all even in hitting the post for at least tonight's game so far.
Want to relax and unwind. One beer comes to mind. The great light taste of Olympia. Ball at midfield. Julie V. Far side of the field as we look at it. That would be the right side of the attack coming into the Fort Lauderdale end. A long square ball all the way across the field to Ty Keogh. He approaches the Fort Lauderdale 35. Feeds it up the left wing for Sanchez. Sanchez marked by Roy Wigamanson. It goes over the near sideline. It will be a San Diego throw-in.
You can see O'Sullivan going over there to take the kick, and it's to take the throw-in. Sully, I think, is going to play a very important role in tonight's match, mainly because of his speed.
All right, Tibor Gameri touched the ball over the near sideline. The linesman down there says it's a striker throw-in. Ball comes in to Fowles. Ball fed ahead for an overlapping Gameri. He can't catch up with it. The crown of the field takes it over the near sideline. Throw in San Diego. Ty Keogh back to Nico Roman. Francisco Murillo will pick up some defense there. Try and slow things down. Gert Wieczykowski over to Ty Keogh. Keogh comes into Fort Lauderdale territory with the ball really at midfield. Then feeds back over to Gert Wieczykowski, center circle to Rodney Bush. Rabalski covering Bush, so he heads for his left, feeds it back to Keogh. White lines on the field will get confusing at times. That's a football field drawn within the confines. Look out, here comes Sanone, and he loses control of it, and Van Beveren comes out again as the Sockers had another opportunity go awry there. Just over 32 minutes to go. First half, we are still scoreless here. This is for the marbles. San Diego has had several scoring opportunities, not the least of which the pass by Ty Keogh ahead to Peter O'Sullivan, who took it up toward the box, then fed Sanone. Sanone couldn't run it down, and Van Beveren got it in the goal mouth. Ball back at midfield. San Diego still with possession, however. As we say, all the marbles involved tonight. San Diego simply must win this game. If they don't, Fort Lauderdale will face the Cosmos at RFK Stadium on the 21st. if the Sockers win this one. We will then play the 30-minute mini game after this one. The Sockers, of course, lost at home for the first time in the playoffs the other night to Fort Lauderdale. It had been their wont so far in the playoffs to win at home, lose the regular game in the opponent's yard, win the mini game, which went to the shootout, both against Chicago and Tampa Bay. They can't do it that way now. They must win this one. They must reverse the process. Julie V with it at midfield, right side for San Diego. Center circle pass to Rodney Bush. Ball moving toward the left, the near sideline. As we look at the field, Terry Moore feeds it ahead to Manu Sanon, marked by Tibor Jameri. Sanon cannot keep the ball inside the yellow line, but they say Jameri forced it out. So it'll be a San Diego throw-in. Even Sanon's laughing about that one.
Well, the linesman called it a throw-in for Fort Lauderdale, but the referee standing right on top of the play thought that it was a foul.
All right, Rodney Bush took the free kick, goes to the left wing for Hugo Sanchez, knocked to the ground by Roy Wigemanson. And we are going to have a little tussle here as Wigemanson gets a vocal warning from the referee, Trevichian. He simply knocked Hugo Sanchez to the ground trying to get to the ball. Wigemanson, only 21 years of age, from South Africa, and what an outstanding game he had in San Diego on Thursday night. O'Sullivan will take the free kick from just outside the Fort Lauderdale penalty box on the left. He loops it for Nico Roman. Roman can't get the head on it. It's cleared away by Ken Fogarty. It will come all the way out toward Fort Lauderdale's 35. San Diego still in possession. Gene Wilrich with it.
I think on that play, the referee, Toros Kabrichin, calling a pushing foul on one of the San Diego Sockers that was back there.
All right, while they regroup, we'll take a break here. This is North American Soccer League playoff action. I'm almost dry. Sanon is down. We're going to get a PK here? Huh?
No, yellow card. I believe it was Wigemanson, I think.
John DeMott with Jerry Epstein at Lockhart Stadium here. Time is called as Manu Sanon went to the ground just inside the Fort Lauderdale penalty box. It is not a penalty kick situation. Trainer Gus Serenides was out there. But Manu Sanon was whacked as he went toward the top of the penalty box. It looked as if he were dumped by John Pott, either Pott or Wigemanson. Sanon is up now. We are scoreless. We have played about 16 minutes, just over 16 minutes of the first half. San Diego's Rodney Bush and Hugo Sanchez around the ball, which is situated on the left side of the penalty arc, just outside the top of the Lauderdale box. On the left, Sanchez over the wall, goes over everything. It will be a goal kick for Lauderdale.
I think that's one problem that Manu Sanon's going to have all evening. They've been keying on him. They keyed on him in San Diego and here in Fort Lauderdale. They're not going to give him any space. That's the second time tonight that he's had a chance to break into the penalty area, and he's been knocked down.
Oh, they whack him. They just whack him. That man, Jan Van Beveren, the goalkeeper for Fort Lauderdale, 16 games, 2 shutouts, a 1.78 goals against, but his goals against in the playoffs is just 1.03. He booms it up into the San Diego defensive zone where Terry Moore heads it back into the Fort Lauderdale end of the field. Gene Wilrich has it now as San Diego needs to regroup a little bit. There's a whistle and a foul called, I believe, on Rabalski. So the quick free kick by Rodney Bush to Peter O'Sullivan. He tried to cross it for Gerd Wierzchowski, and Francisco Mourinho intercepted it. Gerd Miller coming down the right side. He crosses for Rybalski. They're still outside the San Diego box. Teofilo Cabillas from the 35 tried to work a 1-2, a give-and-go play with Mourinho. An errant pass. The ball goes all the way to Volkmar Gross, and San Diego turns the strikers back. That's the key tonight. Ron Newman told us before the game he's going to play a more defensive and a more cautious game than he likes to play, really. It's not his style. Now, that's what he told us before the game.
Sure,
but they've been playing a little attacking soccer, Jerry, here at the in the early going of the first half. Ball far right side. Throw in Fort Lauderdale as Gene Wilrich knocked it over the far sideline. Colin Fowles, the Jamaican defender, the left fullback for the Strikers, throws it in. It goes off of Rybalski, and so now San Diego has a throw in their own territory, or deep in Fort Lauderdale territory, as Sanchez throws it in for Terry Moore. Ball up on the right side. Gene Wilrich fighting for it over there. Now it comes into Sanchez, right of the striker penalty box. Marked by Fowles. Ball played out to Wilrich. He takes it down in the corner, and he's dumped by Fowles. Was it a dive, or was it a foul on Fowles? We'll have to wait and see what the referee Trevichin calls. He has called a foul on Fowles. And so Wilrich will take a free kick from the far right wing. Loops it for Nico Roman, heads it in. Goal, San Diego.
Not exactly an instant replay of the goal that San Diego scored, Nico Roman's goal in San Diego, but an absolutely beautiful cross by Gene Wilrich. And Nico Roman, he's the key up front because he's the big man for the San Diego Sockers. He's over 6 feet tall. He's the one that Newman said if there's a head ball to put in there, it's going to be Nico Roman. Beautiful cross by Gene Wilrich from the far side of the field. Wilrich puts the ball straight across the middle, and Roman just goes up above everyone and puts it into the corner. Van Beveren didn't even have a chance.
All right, it is 1-0 San Diego. They have a leg up now and at least getting to the mini game. Remember, Fort Lauderdale wins this one. They go to Soccer Bowl. San Diego wins this one. We play another 30-minute game. Ray Hudson plays it ahead now to Francisco Mourinho. He wanted to cross to Cabillas from the right. Peter O'Sullivan marked him over there. Gene Wilrich, a long cross off a free kick to Nico Roman, set up the San Diego first goal. Roman breaking in from the top of the goal box, heads it and gets it by Van Beveren on the right. Now we've got a Fort Lauderdale corner kick, left side. Rybalski over there to take it. Mourinho trying to get free of Peter O'Sullivan, can't do it. They don't even get the kick past Wilrich. Fort Lauderdale with the ball on the left now outside the San Diego penalty box. Rybalski trying to make something happen. Wilrich played it over the sideline, so Rybalski throws it into Cabillas, still on the left. Terry Moore with some tough defense over there. Another Fort Lauderdale throw in as the ball goes over the line. Comes into Mourinho. He heads it forward for Ray Hudson. Job defensively there by Ty Keogh. And the Sox try to get something going again. Look out now. Here comes Cabillas in from the left. Ball loose in the box. Volkmar Gross polices it up.
I think one of the things that we're going to see now is an even more aggressive striker team. Cabillas coming up. Mourinho was inserted into the lineup because of his offensive style of play. He didn't play in San Diego. They had Schoenmaker in there, a better defensive player. So it's going to be a lot of pressing by the strikers now.
Julie V with it. Coming up into Fort Lauderdale territory on the right. Crosses the 35. Rybalski defensively. Vive plays it back to Peter O'Sullivan. Rodney Bush, a long ball up the right side for Manu Sanon. Sanon marked by John Pott, the Dutch defender. Pott takes it over the sideline. Did it go over the sideline or over the end line? We'll have to see here. Well, they're going to say Sanon touched it last. It went over the end line. It's a Fort Lauderdale goal kick. So we'll take a break here from Fort Lauderdale. It's 1-0 San Diego. This is 1980 San Diego soccer playoff action. Mark, can you do me a favor? Have someone in the truck call 714-283-5896. Make sure everything's going all right on radio. Thank you. Lauderdale. The Sox lead at 1-0 on a goal by Nico Roman off a Gene Wilrich corner kick or free kick at the 18:25 mark. Roman's 4th goal of the playoffs, Wilrich's 5th assist. So it has been Wilrich and Roman offensively for San Diego in this 3 playoff series. San Diego with the ball now. Fort Lauderdale end. Here comes Julie V. Penalty arc. Feeds it ahead to Manu Sanon. Back to V as they try the 1-2. It's broken up by John Pott. Ray Hudson has it now for the Strikers. He'll bring it out of the Fort Lauderdale defensive zone into the San Diego end of the field. Peter O'Sullivan marking him. Hudson breaks toward the center, still with the ball. O'Sullivan runs at him. Tackles the ball away. O'Sullivan, another fine tackle as Rabalski tried to get possession. And we're going to have a foul called on Peter O'Sullivan as he knocked Rabalski to the ground on that tackle.
Boy, it's kind of incredible during the whole regular season. Nico Roman with just 2 goals in all the games that he appeared in. Already in the playoff games, 4 goals. So a big offensive power for the Sockers, aside from a good defensive player so far in the playoffs.
Cavillas takes the free kick to Fogarty. Center circle to Colin Fowles. Fort Lauderdale with it. Ball at midfield. Coming to the right side to Pott. Peter O'Sullivan picks up the defense. A long ball down the right wing for an overlapping Tibor Gameri. He centers it for Gerd Mueller. It's intercepted by Gene Wilrich. Wilrich plays it back to his goalie, Volkmar Gross. Once again, outstanding defense by San Diego. Their forwards and midfielders are coming back well, Chair.
Exactly. It was Peter O'Sullivan challenging right at the midfield. I think in the first game when the offensive players of Fort Lauderdale, Gerd Mueller, especially Teofilo Cubillas and Ray Hudson, got past midfield, there was no one there but a couple defenders, and when they broke through, it was a lot of trouble, and then they started play defensively. Good midfield defensive work by the Sockers tonight.
John DeMott with Jerry Epstein. We are at Lockhart Stadium in Fort Lauderdale playing the Strikers for the American Conference Championship. Julie V with the ball in Fort Lauderdale territory. Right side, goes over the sideline. Fouls touch the glass. It'll be a San Diego throw-in.
Julie V taking his time a little bit. Time is definitely on the Socker side for the rest of this half and possibly for the game if it stays like this.
Well, if they start playing the way Ron Newman set it up and told us before the game and it all works, everything works out well. If the strategy works, then of course they will accomplish that and we'll play the mini game. Throw in San Diego right side. Wilrich will take it. They're deep in Fort Lauderdale territory. Julie V is at the top of the goal box, marked by Wigginson. Throw in comes to Hugo Sanchez. Sanchez loses the ball. Cubillas has it. Fort Lauderdale. Watch out for Gerd Mueller. He's been camped up around the 35-yard line waiting for them to come back. Mueller plays one end of the field. Foul. No foul. Rabalski's still with it. Gerd Wieczorkowski picks him up. Sliding tackle, Nico Roman. Nice job. Fort Lauderdale still with it, however. Center circle. Hudson. Ball down the right side to Tibor Gameri. Here comes Wieczorkowski on defense. Crossing for Mueller. Headed away by Roman. Over to Cubillas on the left. Top of the box. Cubillas shoot. Save. Volkmar Gross.
Boy, I'd have to consider Cubillas probably the most dangerous threat on the Strikers. He's the player that led them offensively this year. He was the 4th beating scorer in the North American Soccer League. Gerd Mueller just kind of stays in the game, and he camps around the middle, but a lot of times he just waits for 5 minutes and picks up a garbage goal. But
the ball intended for Mueller went over his head, and Cubillas had an open shot, and Volkmar Gross made a nice save on the ground. Ray Hudson with the ball in center circle for Fort Lauderdale, their own end of the field. He plays it to Fogarty. Fogarty ahead to Mourinho. To John Pott, coming down the right side across the San Diego 35. Ty Keogh comes over to pick up the defense, forces a centering pass to Cubillas. Just inside the 35, into Mourinho now, back out to Pott. Pott ahead, wanted Mueller to break to the right of the box. Ball goes in by itself, and Volkmar Gross cleans it up. San Diego has an opportunity to counterattack. United Airlines with daily Royal Hawaiian service to our little corner of the world, Hawaii. United, building San Diego's largest non-stop airline around you, San Diego. Volkmar Gross still with the ball. Charger football on KSDO radio tomorrow. The Oakland Raiders. That'll be a big one. Should the Sockers get to Soccer Bowl RFK Stadium, you'll hear it on KSDO at 9 a.m. on the 21st of September. Now we've got a foul called on a Fort Lauderdale striker and a free kick for San Diego on the right side, just outside the 35-yard line. Rodney Bush there to take it. Bush goes on the ground to Sanchez, breaking out from the top of the box to Peter O'Sullivan. Sully shoots. Save on one bounce, Van Beveren. Van Beveren with the ball. Julie V harassing him. 1-0 San Diego. We'll be back. This is North American Soccer League playoff action. Hugo Sanchez has just put the San Diego Sockers up 2-0 here at Lockhart Stadium. The ball came down the left wing. Manu Zanon breaking it in from the 35, approaching the Fort Lauderdale penalty box. Chipped it by a defender to Sanchez from the right of the box. Sanchez had to slide, but hit it in past Van Beveren on the right. They beat him cold, and the Sox are up 2-0.
Boy,
all back now.
Fantastic counterattack on that play. Good speed going right up the wing. Manu Zanon going over. Hugo Sanchez again. He's had a number of goals. Leads the Sockers with 4 goals, or tied with Nick Roman now with 5 goals in the playoffs. Just a super dive to get that ball in. Big goal, because now Fort Lauderdale's really going to have to come up.
And Sanon's 6th assist, and we believe there'll be an assist to Peter O'Sullivan on that one. So Sullivan really the guy that started the counterattack in the midfield and the Fort Lauderdale, the San Diego defensive end. Fort Lauderdale now struggling, trying to get one back quickly. Gerd Müller, top of the box to Mourinho, one-on-one save. Volkmar, ball comes out, and Rodney Bush brings it out for San Diego all the way to midfield. Or that's Wierzchowski, I'm sorry, but what a save by Volkmar Gross. Francisco Mourinho breaking in by himself as Müller was marked by Nico Roman. Got the ball to Mourinho. Point-blank shot. Mourinho, Volkmar Gross hit him in the chest, and Wierzchowski was able to bring it out of there. Oh, what a close one that was, as Fort Lauderdale nearly answered San Diego's second goal. A yellow card now, I believe, to Terry Moore, Jerry.
Terry Moore came up, he was a little bit aggressive right there as the pass was coming out to Cubillas. He hit him from behind.
Cubillas is shaken up while the medical staff looks him over. We'll take a break here. From Fort Lauderdale, this is San Diego Soccer's exciting playoff action. What's happening here? Is this turning into what you call your turkey shoot? Susan's getting upset.
I don't think Ron will mind coming over to the sideline at halftime.
Yeah, I think we'll have Newman. I think we will have Newman. Susan's really getting the RA up here. Oh, yeah. She's getting really testy. Do one of those. You do one.
Oh, no, I can't do one.
I'm just making nervous.
Show my mother.
Cubillas is hurt.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Teofilo Cubillas just now being helped up off the ground by Hugo Sanchez. Sanchez put the Sockers up 2-0 at the 28:09 mark. The crowd is a little quiet here now at Fort Lauderdale. They were certainly excited and noisy as the game began, but the Sanchez goal has quieted them down. Zanon and O'Sullivan the assists, as we expected. Cubillas is up. It looks like he is going to stay in. What a loss that would be, Jerry, for Fort Lauderdale if Cabillas could not stay in the game.
Well, you would almost think that right now that Cor Vanderhart, the coach of the Strikers, might want to take him out and rest him. Not that a 2-goal lead by the Sockers, that the Strikers cannot come back and overtake that.
Well, now he is walking toward the sideline. Perhaps he is going to come out. I don't see a Fort Lauderdale player up, however. Goose Voslander is kind of jogging back and forth on the sidelines as to warm up, and he is indeed taking Cabillas out of the game.
I think a very smart move by Vanderhart to rest him at this point if he will be needed for the mini game. He'll want him back.
Goose Voslander is the man going to go in for Fort Lauderdale, I believe. Has he indeed gone in? The yellow card to Terry Moore for the contact with Cabillas at the 29:54 mark. San Diego with the ball again as play resumes. Peter O'Sullivan, midfield, passes over on the right for Rodney Bush. Rodney Bush is playing a right fullback spot, really, but he and V are kind of switching back and forth as Bush becomes a midfielder, really, offensively, and V plays up toward the middle. All right, Bush with it, comes into Fort Lauderdale territory, goes over on the right side for Gene Wilrich. Back to Bush just outside the striker 35-yard line. We have played 31 minutes here. San Diego leads it 2-0. Ball goes all the way back now to Gert Wierzchowski in the center circle. He comes over on the left side to his fullback Ty Keogh. A left wing ball for Manu Sanon. Tight defense there by Tibor Gameri. Ray Hudson a sliding tackle, and he whacks Sanon as Moore whacked Cabillas. But referee Terbichian does not do anything. It was a clean tackle, really, by Hudson. Throw in to Sanchez, left side of the penalty box. He's taken down by Wiggemanson. It's getting a little physical. Ty Keogh tried a right footer from about 30 yards away. It hit Ken Fogarty. And now Fort Lauderdale with a chance for a quick counterattack. Francisco Mourinho. San Diego getting back quickly on defense. However, outstanding effort over there by Gene Wilrich on the left side. Tackled the ball over the sideline at the 35, forcing play to stop for a throw-in.
Good hustle by Wilrich there, running step for step with Colin Fowles, who was trying to gain possession of the ball. He put it out of bounds so the Sockers could come back and regroup for the Strikers' attack right now.
Ball all the way back in midfield. Fogarty plays it ahead, and Rodney Bush gets it. Rodney Bush with a long ball for the Sanchez in the middle. Wiggemanson, the defender for Fort Lauderdale, intercepts it, however. Now they're playing volleyball in the midfield. Hudson with it. They're inside San Diego territory. Gameri coming down to the penalty box from the right, crossing for Gerd Mueller. Cleared away by Terry Moore, and Gert Wierzchowski. Ball all the way back up into the Fort Lauderdale defensive zone. Wiggemanson with it. He brings it all the way up to San Diego, and Manu Sanon has come all the way back, playing where Ty Keogh, the left fullback, does, and Sanon is starting to run now. And then he crosses for Terry Moore. Back to, well, intended for Sanon. Tackled away there by Fogarty. However, San Diego still has it. Ball at their end of the field, however. And they decide to play it all the way back to Volkmar Gross. If driving all over town looking for back-to-school values is driving you crazy, remember FedMart. At FedMart, you'll save on everything your family needs for back-to-school. 2-0, John DeMott with Jerry Epstein. Sockers a leg up now on forcing a mini-game here in this American Conference Final at Lockhart Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Ty Keogh with it in midfield to Peter O'Sullivan. Come into Fort Lauderdale territory. Play it to Julie V just in front of the center circle. V with a long cross for Gene Wilrich. Top of the box, heads it back for O'Sullivan. Cleared away once again by Ken Fogarty. Francisco Mourinho, the Brazilian, with it. He's playing because Lex Schoenmacher, fine midfielder for Fort Lauderdale, has a pulled hamstring. He kind of took Mourinho's starting job away from him for the playoffs, but Mourinho's back in there tonight, a world-class Brazilian player, 28 years of age. Fort Lauderdale struggling to get something going offensively now. Ken Fogarty at San Diego's 35-yard line plays it to Rybalski. Now to Tibor Gameri coming up from his right fullback spot, right of the penalty box. Long cross. However, an offside player. Volkmar Gross will get the ball and play it on out of there. And we'll take a break here back in 60 seconds for more exciting San Diego Sockers playoff action. tough working with shoes on, isn't it?
Go for it.
All right, Volkmar Gross with it, right where we left off 60 seconds ago. Teofilo Cabillas has come back on for Fort Lauderdale. Cor Vanderhoort, the coach, elected to go a man short for a couple of minutes as Cabillas rested that injured leg. He got away with that, and Cabillas is back. Mourinho has the ball for the Strikers, right corner, crossed for a charging Gerd Müller, and Volkmar Gross intercepts the cross. And once again, San Diego's does the job defensively. In 31 games during the regular season, Gross had 10 shutouts. That's actually 32 games, and his goals against was 1.38.
He was the leading keeper in the American Conference, and his 10 shutouts ranked second. He was only second to Jack Brand of the Seattle Sounders. Brand had an incredible 15 shutouts this season.
Isn't it amazing that the teams with the best records in the league, except for New York, Seattle, Chicago, all gone.
The New York Canalias, is that what they're
The
calling
New York
them now?
Canalias. He got 3 today as the Cosmos defeated Los Angeles 3-1 to advance to Soccer Bowl. Talking to some of the San Diego Sockers before the game as Van Beveren, the Fort Lauderdale goalie, finally plays it out to some of his players, and the Strikers try and set something up offensively. Talking to several San Diego Sockers, they would love an opportunity to play the Cosmos in Soccer Bowl. A strange game at the Meadowlands. The Sox lost to the Cosmos 5-0 in the regular season in a game they felt, and many observers felt, the Sockers really controlled and perhaps outplayed the Cosmos most of the evening. It's just that the Sockers shots did not go in, and the Cosmos did, and they win 5-0. Fort Lauderdale throw in from the left side. Ball comes into the defender over there, Fogarty. He is playing it up now to Steve Rabalski, the left winger. Actually, he's the left striker. Cor Vanderhoort playing a 4-4-2 design with 2 men up front. Terry Moore picked his pocket. And the ball will go over the far sideline, though, for a Fort Lauderdale throw-in, as San Diego's defenders are now being a little bit more brazen. They are coming out and picking up the contact above the 35. That was another problem the other night. Ron Newman felt that the Strikers were able to move at will too deeply into San Diego territory before the Sockers defenders picked them up. That is not the case tonight. The Sockers defenders are coming out well outside the 35 and picking the rushing Strikers up, Jerry.
Well, right now, I think that they're trying to just win those 50-50 balls. It's very important. They didn't do that the other night. And right now, Julie V just dribbling around for a while. I think that they're going to play that patience type of game and just try and hang on to the ball as long as they can. There's only 6 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first half, and they don't want to give up a goal. You can recall at the Chicago game, the Sockers gave up a goal very late in the first half with only seconds left, and that really hurt. So they're going to try and be patient tonight. Just over 6.5 to go first half. 2-0 San Diego lead. And we'll take a short break for station identification here. This is the San Diego Sockers Broadcast Network. All right, we're back at Lockhart Stadium. 2-0 Sox coming up on the 6-minute mark. Cabillas was spiked on the left ankle, according to the report from the bench, so they had to do a little patch job on him down there. That's why he was off for about 2 or 3 minutes. And the Strikers elected to play a man short. Nico Roman and Hugo Sanchez have scored the first half goals to put the Sox up 2-0. Julie V wins the ball back from Ray Hudson, who wants a foul called. I think Julie, and he got it. Trying to get the ball. Actually, the striker had position, and he kind of forced him off the ball and did steal it, but the referee, who was following the play from behind, caught that little shove and is giving the ball and a free kick to the Strikers. Ray Hudson, one of the original Strikers, or one of the last 2 or 3 men remaining on the original Ron Newman edition of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Mourinho will take the free kick. They are to the left side of the San Diego penalty box, perhaps 5 yards outside the line. San Diego setting up the wall. Mourinho goes high over the wall and the crossbar, and it'll be a San Diego goal kick, and we'll take a 60-second break. This is San Diego Soccer's playoff action.
Yeah, Epstein's leaving right now. And Sue's going to go down, so it'll be you and me for a while. Oh, she's going to stay here now. She can't bear to be away from me for even a moment. Longest 60 I've ever had. Here come the Sockers once again into Fort Lauderdale territory. Hugo Sanchez, right side of the penalty box, marked over there by Roy Wigemenson, plays the ball out for Gene Wilrich on the right. San Diego with a 2-0 lead. Wilrich's cross is banged out of bounds by Wigemenson. It'll be a Sockers throw in. Wilrich will take it. Right sideline inside the Fort Lauderdale 35. Plays the ball out to Terry Moore. Moore's starting on defense tonight in place of Doc Lawson. The big news in this game, really, Peter O'Sullivan starting in the midfield in place of Leonardo Cuellar. The first game this year, Cuellar has not started. Ron Newman just felt the Sox would match up better. And so far, you can't argue with him as the Sockers have taken a 2-0 lead here in Fort Lauderdale. A game they must win, remember, only for a chance to play the mini-game. The mini-game will follow this one immediately, of course, and we'll have that one for you. Sockers give up the ball, a throw in Fort Lauderdale. Fogarty takes it. Cabillas with the ball now. Cabillas is still limping visibly. Spiked on the left ankle, feeds Jameri on the right side. Play the ball ahead for Pott. As Fort Lauderdale's bringing everybody up but the coach. Cross. Miller tried to shoot it. It goes over the end line. And it'll be a San Diego Soccer goal kick. Everybody was up front that time for the Strikers except for Roy Wigemenson. As Cor Vanderhoort would just as soon decide the issue before the 30-minute mini-game. Both the Sockers and Strikers have won all the mini-games in the playoffs, obviously, or they wouldn't be here now. Ball at midfield as the Strikers win it back from Hugo Sanchez. Rabalski comes across the San Diego 35. Nico Roman clears it out of there. Hudson back, though. Mourinho, he tried to cross for Gerd Müller, and Wierzchowski knocked it over the end line, so it'll be a corner kick for Fort Lauderdale, just their third of the game. 2 minutes to go, first half, 2-0 San Diego. Shots, San Diego 7, Fort Lauderdale 5. Corner kick intercepted by Volkmar Gross. Saves Gross 2, Van Beveren 1. Ball all the way up now into the Striker defensive zone. And Hugo Sanchez all by himself battling Colin Fowles. Fowles slow to get up off the ground, but he is, and he is all right. Ball all the way back down now to the San Diego defensive end. Rabalski breaking on a run down the left wing, marked over there by Rodney Bush. Rabalski breaks into the box, crosses for Gerd Müller. Müller can't control it. Gert Wierzchowski saved the day again. Oh, what a job of defense by Gerd Wierzchowski. San Diego on the counterattack. Gene Wilrich by one man. That's Mueller. Now Fogarty, a sliding tackle, takes the ball back from Wilrich, who slams the ground in anger. Ray Hudson comes into San Diego territory. I beg your pardon, Francisco Mourinho, now Hudson. Hudson's pass intended for Mourinho, just saved at the near sideline. Under a minute to go. 2-0 lead. Sockers hoping to hang on to it and take it into the locker room. Look out, ball bouncing in the penalty box. Hudson and Mourinho coming for it, but Volkmar Gross came out and spoiled their plans. Half a minute to go. Sockers coming back. Julie V with the ball on the right side. Wierzchowski. Sox are going to kill the clock now. Peter O'Sullivan on the left side. Terry Moore and O'Sullivan and Wierzchowski all passing the ball around at midfield as the clock ticks away. 10 seconds. Terry Moore with it. Gonna play it all the way back. 3. Time will run out. There it is. The first half has expired. The San Diego Sockers lead this one 2-0. We'll be back to begin. Well, we're going to get Ron Newman. We're going to try and get Ron Newman at halftime. Jerry Epstein has gone down on the field. Here comes Newman. He is coming across the field. And so a very happy Ron Newman is running across the field now to join Jerry Epstein down on the sidelines, and he'll give us a quick comment or two to tell us how that first half went. As a disappointed Teofilo Cabillas is one of the last strikers to go into the locker room. Cor Vanderhoort in the white shorts and red shirt doesn't exactly dress up as coaches go. Epstein and Newman are down on the sidelines now. And I gotta believe Ron Newman is going to be a happy coach. Jerry Epstein, I gotta believe the coach is a little delighted.
Ron, we gotta feel that you're pretty happy right now. What about the first half?
Well, we played according to plan, just as the way we should have probably played it at home. More defensive, making them come at us, letting our speedy forwards take over. Felt we could have had a couple of penalties early on. They looked to me like certain penalties, but we never got them, but still anyway, we got it.
What about the second half, Coach?
Well, the second half, obviously, they're going to come at us even more. So we hope that we can keep the old attackers going with the speed. You know, they're very vulnerable at the back if we can open them up.
Okay, I'm sure they're waiting for you in the locker room. Thanks a lot. Good luck. Back up to you, John.
All right, a very happy Ron Newman, no question about that. And we'll be back with more halftime activities after these words. 7, Fort Lauderdale, the more physical side. Each team was off sides once. Ball comes all the way back to Volkmar Gross. We're just underway, second half. San Diego with the same players. Fort Lauderdale with the same players. And the ball comes up again into the Fort Lauderdale end, where Wiggemanson has to pick it up, play it to Ray Hudson, center circle. These stripe-clad Fort Lauderdale strikers attacking right to left as we look at the field here. A small stadium, some 20,000 hopeful fans. Jerry, they do have the advantage of knowing even if they lose this one, they've got another chance. They've got the 30-minute minigame.
Well, the Sockers are exerting a lot of pressure, especially in that first half, because it's a must game for San Diego. They could, Fort Lauderdale, lose the first game and then come back in the second, but Fort Lauderdale is playing very tough, and I don't think they're going to be giving up at all until the final whistle.
You got that right. Play stopped for a moment as a foul is called on a striker. And San Diego will have a free kick, left side, just outside the 35-yard line. Peter O'Sullivan plays the ball ahead on the left wing to Gene Woodridge. Sanon trying to win it back from Wiggemanson, the defender back there. Boy, he plays all over the field. Fine young player, 21-year-old defender from South Africa. Colin Fowles will bring it up the left side now out of his defensive zone for the strikers, marked by Julie V. Rabalski with it. Rodney Bush forces a centering pass from Rabalski to Ray Hudson, where Peter O'Sullivan's marking him. Now down the right side comes Tibor Gameri, who's been overlapping all night. He feeds it into Gerd Miller, top of the San Diego penalty box. Ball cleared away by Nico Roman.
It almost seems as if both teams are playing the exact game plans Ron Newman said that he would play is. He'd like to get another goal if possible, but more importantly, not let one up. And I don't think he wants his players to sit back, because that's when you get in a lot of trouble around the goal mouth. He wants them to go up and attack, and I think that'll be crucial for them to hang on to this lead and, again, possibly score another goal.
Marcia Gilmore and her San Diego Soccer ticket staff are waiting for your calls this moment at 280-GOAL. Make those ticket plans for indoor soccer, a brand new and exciting game coming to San Diego in November. If you haven't seen it, it's just not to be believed. If you can imagine hockey on AstroTurf, no skates, a big ball. Basically played with hockey rules, 6-man sides in the confines of a hockey rink on the AstroTurf. It's a wild, physical, and exciting game. A lot more scoring than the outdoor game. 15, 20 goals scored in some of those indoor games. Sockers have the ball, their defensive zone. Nico Roman at his penalty arc goes over on the left side. Ty Keogh, now he comes up into the midfield with it to Manu Sanon. Sanon, the run, crosses 35, heading for the middle. Sanchez breaks out on the left wing. Sanon tried to cross it to him, and it was broken up defensively there by Guimeri, John Pott, and Roy Wiggemanson, all involved in it.
Good run by Sanon right there, but I think the key is that Steve Rabowski was calling all his players up because the Sockers were doing a little stall tactic and passing around in front of their goal. And as they moved forward, they shot the pass up to Sanon, who shot through. And I think there's going to be a substitution right now. I think Steve Cacciatore, the smallest player in the NASL.
Oh, he's a little guy. He's 5'2", 125 pounds. Jeff Cacciatore
Steve, his brother, was also a professional. He has two brothers, very small.
Nice recovery. Nice going. Corner kick, San Diego, right side. Gene Wilrich will take it. The pride of the press guy, Jerry Epstein, with us. Left-footed boot, long for Julie V. Doesn't get to him as Ray Hudson intercepts with the head, and here come the chicken man, number 11, Jeff Cacciatore, comes out to Ray Hudson in the left flat. He gets by Peter O'Sullivan. Julie V. turns on the afterburner and catches up. Julie V. down in the end, and it goes over the end line. It'll be a Fort Lauderdale corner kick. But what a great run by Julie V. to help Peter O'Sullivan on defense down there. For limited special offers on baseball gloves and swimming suits, drop in at Sports Scene on Navajo Road for the finest in sporting goods. Sports Scene has what you need.
I think there was a little problem as they were setting up for the free kick. Gert Wojciechowski walked over and more or less picked up the ball and threw it over the sideline, more or less, again, a stalling tactic, but the referee calling him over, and this should be a yellow card, and it is for Gert Wojciechowski. Wojciechowski so far in the playoffs has 2. This is his 3rd yellow card, and that could be in trouble if the Sockers can win this one and go into the minigame and get the soccer ball, because he's going to be in penalty point trouble.
All right, Ken Fogarty has gone out. Koos Voislander is in for him, number 22. Free kick by Hudson. Tried to get it to Cabillas. Long shot by Rybowski going nowhere over the end line. Goal kick San Diego. And while they run the ball down, we'll take a 60-second break here. This is San Diego Soccer's playoff action. Crowd, Mike, is just too loud. All I hear is crowd. The crowd in my ears. All right, we're back. Ball goes over the far sideline. 2-0 San Diego Soccer's lead. Here in the second half, we've played just over 6 minutes. Francisco Mourinho fighting for the ball at midfield with Julie V. Strikers have it. And then lose it. Manu Sanon plays a long ball down the left side. Nobody there except Koos Voislander, a striker midfielder who goes over and cleans it up. All right, the ball comes up the right side now. Strikers on the attack, and Ray Hudson can't control it as Nico Roman does the job. And a foul is going to be called on Nico Roman for tripping Teofilo Cabillas, and so the Strikers will have a free kick right at the San Diego 35 toward the right side. Cabillas over to John Pott. Ray Hudson crosses over for Rybowski on the left side. Gene Wilrich, the defense. And a great job of defense by Gert Wieserkowski as a cross intended for Gerd Müller came in there, and Wieserkowski headed the ball out of the San Diego penalty box. Peter O'Sullivan has it now for the Sockers. Another whistle. Sockers have a free kick, a foul called on a striker over there away from the ball. Gerd Wieserkowski got a yellow card at 49-36. I missed that one. Do you see that one?
That was when he picked up the ball and threw it over the sideline when the referee placed it down for a free kick for Fort Lauderdale. In big trouble because that's his 3rd one in the playoffs if the Sockers
do
you
mentioned
advance.
that, didn't you?
Right.
Picky.
Sorry.
Rodney Bush will throw it in now from the right side for San Diego. Comes down to Gene Wilrich, marked by Rybowski. And Wilrich's volley kick is intercepted by John Pott of the Strikers. Rybowski will bring it up the left side for Jeff Cacciatore in the corner, and Nico Roman will let it go over the end line, and it'll be a San Diego goal kick. For limited special offers on baseball gloves, swimsuits, hope you'll stop by Sports Scene on Navajo Road in San Diego. For the finest in sporting goods, Sports Scene has what you need. Volkmar Gross is going to boot it out now for San Diego. Has it on the ground, funks it all the way up over the midline. Terry Moore heads it over to Manu Sanon. They play it to Peter O'Sullivan in the midfield. A long ball down the left wing for Hugo Sanchez. Roy Wiggemanson watches it go over the far sideline. Throw in Strikers. 2-0 San Diego lead. 8.5 minutes of this second half have expired. Shots are even at 7. Only 2 of the Sox have gone in. Nico Roman scoring first, and Hugo Sanchez. Ball at midfield. Fort Lauderdale with it. Come over to the left side for Steve Robalski, just inside the 35 to little Jeff Cacciatore. Ray Hudson, a feed for Pott. Pott shoots, save. Volkmar Gross as he hit it on the ground from the penalty arc, got it through traffic, hoping perhaps Volkmar would be screened. He was not. And Volkmar punts it out of there. Pott just shot it from about 25 yards out. Volkmar was able to scoop it up on the left side. Now the ball all the way back to the Fort Lauderdale defensive zone. Comes over the near sideline. Gene Wilrich will take a throw in for the Sockers.
Again, Ron Newman must be pleased the way the Sockers are playing so far this first half. All game they've been keeping the strikers outside the penalty area, giving Volkmar time to make that save if needed.
All right, Rodney Bush threw it in for Gene Wilrich, and Robalski took it away from him. They're down in the corner in their own zone. And now we have a foul called on Gene Wilrich, and so Fort Lauderdale takes the free kick down in their own end. Play the ball to Van Beveren, the goalie, and he'll kick it out of there. Line drive boot right to Julie V. Midfield for San Diego to Terry Moore. Terry Moore battling Teofilo Cabillas with it. Wilrich comes up with it right side. Can't stop it from going over the sideline, and it'll be a Fort Lauderdale striker throw-in.
See that the referee has called timeout there, so he's going to keep a close eye on that clock to preserve all the minutes that should be played in this game.
Ball bounding around in midfield. Julie V comes up with it for the Sockers. They're in their defensive zone. Ty Keogh has it on the far left side. Plays it back, and they'll play it all the way back to Volkmar Gross. Volkmar throws it out to Gerd Wierzchowski. Gerd will come up across the midline into Fort Lauderdale territory on the left side. Plays a pass to Hugo Sanchez, marked closely by Wiggemanson. Sanchez and Ray Hudson fighting for the ball. Sanchez comes up with it. Play on, says the referee. A foul called on Hudson. They can do that, you know. If San Diego has the advantage and is playing the ball and a foul is committed against them, the referee can say play on. Rodney Bush, a long ball for Sanchez, inside the arc, hits it, hit the pipe. Oh my gosh, he missed it. Oh, wide open Sanchez hit the left pipe as we look at the goal, and it bounced out.
Boy, just an absolutely beautiful cross by Rodney Bush. Rodney sending it way over one of the defenders, probably Roy Wiggemanson, and just hit the post, and now big break for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
All right, they have it at midfield. Hudson, a pass for Robalski over to the near sideline, right on our side here under us. Down in the left corner with it now is Hudson. He wanted to get it into Cacciatore, and once again, Nico Roman did the job defensively. Volkmar Gross comes out and calls for it, throws it over to the other side where there's some space. Gerd Wierzchowski. Fort Lauderdale forechecking now, playing tight defense up front. Trying to keep San Diego from getting the ball out of their own end. Now Nico Roman crosses for Julie V, right sideline. V plays it across the midline for Peter O'Sullivan, who runs into some space, wide open. Now to Gene Wilrich on the right wing. Wilrich breaks toward the box, tried to play it in for a breaking Manu Sanon. It was broken up by Steve Robalski. Robalski with the ball for Fort Lauderdale. A long square ball intended for Cabillas. or Colin Fowles, but it was intercepted by Keogh over there. San Diego's still with it. Terry Moore.
Well, I'd have to believe the strikers can't believe what they're seeing after the game in San Diego, where the Sockers really weren't that good at completing their passes. After the halftime, when I was walking around the stands, you hear just the people saying this is nothing like the game that they expected, and I'm sure it surprised the whole team, Fort Lauderdale, that is.
Well, the Sockers have the field spread out as well, and they're making the strikers run, and it's hot and it's humid here. And if you can keep the space and keep playing the long balls and make the strikers run for it, you're going to be able to wear them down a little bit in conditioning. The team that's best conditioned is the one that's going to come out on top. San Diego with a 2-0 lead. Just over 13 minutes have gone by here in the second half. Don't forget, if they hang on to this lead, we must play a 30-minute mini game after this for the American Conference Championship and the right to meet the Cosmos in Soccer Bowl 80 in Washington next Sunday. Wigginson can't save it as it goes over the end line, I don't believe. No, sir. The referee, Trevigyan, says corner kick, San Diego.
That's a bad error there by Wigginson. Van Beveren was standing right behind him waiting to scoop up the ball because Sanam was maybe 6 or 7 yards away, and Wigginson just stepped in and tried to take the ball and turn it around, but couldn't stop it. Lack of communication between the goalkeeper and his defender.
Yeah, and they're starting to yell at each other a little bit down there. Divide and conquer, right?
That's it.
Get them mad at each other. Corner kick, Wilrich, long cross. Can't get it to Roman. It's headed out of there by Pott. And the strikers try to set up the counterattack. Ray Hudson with it ahead to Cubillas. Hudson and Cubillas, the two who scored in San Diego Thursday night, so far have been held harmless here. Colin Fowles just took a dive that had to be about a 7.4 degree of difficulty. He's writhing on the ground. And a yellow card to Terry Moore. No, it's Peter O'Sullivan.
I think Peter O'Sullivan stuck his foot in front of Fowles, just trying to take the ball. I don't think he was intentionally trying to kick him. And as the ball rolled past, well, Fowles just went flying over Peter O'Sullivan. And at 5'6", Peter O'Sullivan's legs are not that big to make him go tumbling that far.
Free kick, Fort Lauderdale soccer man keeping up with San Diego's soccer explosion. As the kick comes to the near sideline, long cross. Your best bet for team and individual soccer equipment is Soccer Man, with locations on Sports Arena Boulevard and Hamishaw Road out in El Cajon. Shot by Pott, way out. Corner kick or goal kick, San Diego. We'll take a 60-second break. From Fort Lauderdale, soccer playoff action continues. What's our commercial rotation in that? We just go back through them? All right. How long's the minigame halftime? Yeah. Manu Sanon is down again in the penalty arc, right at the top of the Fort Lauderdale penalty box. A sliding tackle by defender John Pott from behind. A clean play by Pott, but it dumps Sanon, and he is injured. And we are just going to have to wait and see what happens as Gus Serenides and the soccer training staff is out there.
Looking down on the field, it looks like he's holding his shoulder. It was a nice give-and-go play that Sanon was running, and he had about a 25-yard run trying to break in, and Pott caught him from behind and just tripped him up outside the penalty box. Sanon might have gone down on his shoulder, but again, it was a very nice run, and that's what Manu is so good at, taking the ball, but he definitely got chopped down I'd hate to say it, but almost a good foul, because had he gone in, he would have had a direct shot on goal. A smart play by Fort Lauderdale, actually.
Well, Gus Serenides came up with the ethyl chloride, and so Sanone is going to be all right. They did call a foul on Plot, however, as well they should have, and Sanone, or Hugo Sanchez, will have a free kick as Fort Lauderdale sets the wall up just inside their own box. Wiggamanson, Hudson, Plot, Cabillas. He gets it through, and a save by Van Beveren. Outstanding save as Sanchez bent the ball around the wall. Cacciatore to Plot as the strikers try the counterattack. Peter O'Sullivan defending. Ray Hudson with it. 16:20 have gone by in the first half. Still a 2-0 Sockers lead. Francisco Mourinho, covered by Wilrich, tried to get it to Hudson, intercepted by O'Sullivan. Gert Wiecherkowski lay it back to Volkmar Gross. It's new, it's authentic. Giorgio's Greek Village on Claremont Drive, offering the finest in Greek dining and entertainment. Volkmar Gross with it now. And Gerd Müller comes over to say hi to his old countryman. Well, I don't mean old in terms of chronology. Well, yes, I do.
I think you might be right there, too.
I am. They're both old. Müller and Volkmar together make a grandfather, for God's sakes.
What a player Müller, though. I tell you. 7-time scoring champion of the Bundesliga in Germany.
There's a couple of outstanding world-class players here. Teofilo Cabillas, 5th all-time leading World Cup scorer. Steve Rabalski with it for Fort Lauderdale. Handball, Rodney Bush. Fans want it in the penalty box for a penalty kick, but the referee isn't going to award it that way. Just outside the box.
The famous on the line by the referee.
I saw no chalk fly. Rodney didn't really, I don't think, look to block the ball with his hand. He kind of lost his footing, stuck his hand down on the ground to catch his balance, and the ball happened to hit him. V. Bush and Terry Moore in the wall. Cabillas is going to take the shot. Goes wide for Wiggamanson, who had come in, and Nico Roman screened him out. Nice job of defense by Nico, anticipating the play. Sanone with the ball, left side, centering pass for Terry Moore. Moore bumped from behind. It was Wiggamanson who hit him, and Wigamanson's the man down.
I see the referee across the field ran over near Manu Sanone. There might have been some action off the ball with a foul, possibly by the strikers on Sanone. That's where the ball is resting right now.
Well, they are down. Wiggamanson. They seem to be ministering to his right leg. And while they look him over, we'll take a 60-second break from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where your Sockers lead it 2-0. This is NASL Soccer 80 playoff action. This is like stealing money, you know it?
I wouldn't call it that. Ron did not want to see him in the game.
I don't either, because I can't find my stickers.
Who's the media guy?
So far behind on drop-ins, it's disgusting.
Let's give a nice hand for Roy Wiggamanson.
He's going off? No, he's going off. He's up. He's all right. Ball coming down, a long kick by Volkmar Gross all the way up to Hugo Sanchez. Fort Lauderdale wins it back. Now the Sox have it again. Peter O'Sullivan, a left wing ball for Sanchez. Play it in the center for Julie V. For Sanchez, score! Hugo Sanchez and Julie V, 1-2 goal, 3-0 Sockers.
A very important goal, that is, by the San Diego Sockers, because one by the strikers now still means a 2-goal difference. The team gets 1 goal down, and it's very tough for them. They can come back then.
Sanchez played the ball to Julie V, top of the penalty box, cut behind him. V, a beautiful pass right to him. Sanchez hammered it from the top of the goal box, right foot by Van Beveren on the left. And as Van Beveren was outstanding on Thursday night, he's having a nightmare tonight. He's down 3-0 with 26 to go in regulation here.
That looked like one of the goals that the strikers scored back in San Diego in the first game. They were breaking in the penalty box. It seems finally that the Sockers are breaking down the strikers' defense and getting in, and a goal like that is just a picture-perfect give-and-go play that any coach would be proud to have his players do, and that was Sanchez's 2nd goal of the evening.
And his 6th of the playoffs. All right, Fort Lauderdale with it. Hudson to Cacciatore, breaking into the penalty arc. Cacciatore trying to control it. Peter O'Sullivan knocks him off it. Cacciatore gets it back, goes to the left for Cabillas. Cabillas runs it down right at the end line. Crossing out for Hudson, headed away by Gerd Wietrkowski. Now Gerd Miller's already at the top of all the way out at the 35-yard line. Mourinho playing it in. Intercepted by Ty Keogh and played out. Sockers dominating tonight. And Jerry, I gotta think they used to break people's thumbs for what Ron Newman did to you and me in our pregame chat tonight. Sockers haven't played anything like what Newman told us they were going to play like.
No, but I really can't see if the Sockers can hold on 3-0 that Ron's going to have any bad words for the club going in before the minigame. I'm sure that he couldn't ask for a better performance, considering how, you got to say, upset he was after the game, that he felt we might have been able to win in San Diego and then come back here and under tough odds do what the Sockers are doing tonight.
Well, and I also got to believe perhaps the design of the game changed based on what Fort Lauderdale was doing. If Fort Lauderdale's going to give you the lanes, give you the openings and the space as they have tonight, then you have to take advantage of them. You don't just lay back. Although San Diego now has 9 of their 11 players back inside the 35-yard line defensively. Robalski with it on the right side for the strikers. Plays it back out to Francisco Mourinho. San Diego is plugging up the defensive end now. Fort Lauderdale going to have to try and find a way to create some space and get some openings, find a way to get a shot in. Robalski crossing for Miller, headed away by Gerd Wietrkowski. Long ball for Hugo Sanchez up on the left side in the flat just inside Fort Lauderdale territory. Wiggemanson knocks it over the far sideline. Throw in Sockers.
Boy, what a game Hugo Sanchez is having. The 2 goals already, and you cannot forget that he hit the post twice also, so just a super game.
New playoff record attendance here at Fort Lauderdale, 18,420. San Diego with the ball, playing it all the way back to Mark Gross, content now to use up some time. Coming up on the 23-minute mark to go. Julie V. Now to Gene Wilrich. Right side marked by Robalski, bumped by Robalski, gets around him. Wilrich crossing, and John Pott makes a saving play on defense as Wilrich just about walked it right in on Van Beveren for a one-on-one situation. Ball comes all the way back out to midfield. On the left is Cacciatore, and Terry Moore picks his pocket. Takes it all the way back to the defensive zone, into the penalty box, and gives it to Volkmar Gross.
I think what the Sockers will try and do now, obviously, is control the ball and not let the strikers score, but make them run after the ball, make them sweat a little, get them tired. I'd have to believe at this point that the Sockers are pumped up emotionally as high as you can possibly get. They want to demoralize. They'd love to score a couple more goals, but keep the ball moving and make the strikers move along with it.
Got to believe those fans at home are a little pumped up as well, and you can show that by calling 280-GOAL right now. Make your season ticket plans for the 1981 outdoor season, the 1980-81 indoor season, which will start at the Sports Arena in November. We can't give you an exact date because there is some question. Right now, there are negotiations going on between the new North American Soccer League Players Association and management, and indoor soccer's involved in those negotiations. Ball still in the defensive end, soccer end. For a wide variety of sporting equipment, why don't you try Thelma's Sports Plus on West Point Loma Boulevard, right next to Robb Field. Ball comes up to midfield now. Rodney Bush with it. And he tackles it over to Peter O'Sullivan. San Diego playing a game of sophisticated keep away here. Official time of the Sanchez goal, his second of the night, was 63:52. They say the assist Wilrich here. Can't be. Julie V. I'll give Wilrich one if he wants as well, but Julie V. and Sanchez worked the 1-2 play, the give and go for the goal. Rabalski with it. Fort Lauderdale moving into the San Diego end. Ray Hudson breaking up to the left side of the box. John Pott trying to get the ball to him. Francisco Mourinho at the 35. Boyslander can't maintain control for the Strikers. It goes back to San Diego's penalty box, and the ball will be played once again to Volkmar Gross.
Well, it seems that the Striker offense is very disorganized this evening.
I don't know why the soccer's PR guy doesn't go over and do something about that assist. I mean, we know Julie V got it.
Oh, that'll be no problem by the end of the game.
Jerry Epstein, of course, the fine director of media relations and services of the San Diego Sockers, working with us instead of Rolf Benerschke, of course, who had a great season. Rolf Benerschke locked up at the Stardust Hotel tonight with the rest of the San Diego Chargers, who host the Oakland Raiders at the stadium tomorrow. Here come the Sockers back defensively. Manu Sanon has made about a 70-yard run all the way back to maintain a one-on-one situation with Teofilo Cabillas. Cabillas comes up with it, however, or that's fouls. Now Mourinho plays it in. We got a whistle all the way over on the far sideline. And a yellow card for Colin Fowles. Thank you very much.
Boy, I think the referee at this point should also possibly give a yellow card to the crowd. A roll of toilet paper flying.
Please, bathroom tissue.
bathroom tissue. Sorry. Come flying out of the stands and nearly missed Manu. And, you know, Ron Newman has so many friends out here. They were all cheering when he was on the halftime interview. So, believe me, even with his friends here, I think that they're a little more Striker fans, just a few more.
You know, I have to say it, and I hope nothing happens, but as I was standing there when I heard the information given Coach Ron Newman by Steve Unger, the PR director of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, they have had some unfortunate incidents in the crowds here this year. They have built a higher fence around the field than they used to have, and Unger instructed Newman, should the Sockers be ahead when it comes time to go into the locker room, to gather his team up in a group and get them off the field together and not have any stragglers, because the folks get just a little bit rowdy. Ball in midfield now, Mourinho. Jeff Cacciatore takes it inside the San Diego 35. Penalty arc with it, Gerd Müller. Can't maintain control, Gene Wilrich. Wilrich and O'Sullivan bring it up in through the center circle into Fort Lauderdale territory. Now pass over on the left side for Hugo Sanchez. Sanchez comes into the left side of the Fort Lauderdale penalty box. Sliding tackle there by Fowles. Goes over the far sideline. It will be a throw-in. Get another note from the press box that it was Gene Wilrich on the assist. Going to have our producer-director Mark Payton save that goal if he's got it. Have to show these folks something through the magic of electronics. Colin Fowles' yellow card. Ungentlemanly conduct came at the 70-10 mark. All right, ball on the far sideline. Now Mourinho and it's a dark over there. I can't see. That's Wilrich. Finally, Wilrich gets it and throws it in on the left side. As Mourinho and Wilrich were playing paddle ball back and forth before the throw in there.
I think Wilrich was trying to put the ball down to set up a free kick, but Mourinho alertly came over and threw the ball at him and said, no, throw it in, friend.
Well, he speaks Portuguese and Wilrich speaks German, and so the only way he could describe it was to simulate a throw in, hit him in the chest with the ball. Look out, here comes Gerd Müller. He was offsides, I believe, or a foul was called. Ray Hudson's down at the 35-yard line. Another yellow card being issued.
I think we had a four-player collision
there. Hugo Sanchez is also down. Ball went across the 35-yard line. Hudson tripped over Sanchez. O'Sullivan hit him from behind. It was like a foggy wreck on the freeway at 8 o'clock in the morning as they chain reaction. All these players came together. Sanchez is down at what would be the football field 40-yard line with the Sockers medical staff, or is that O'Sullivan?
I think that's Terry Moore that I believe the striker player fell over him, and then the trailer on that whole play was O'Sullivan, and
He's
just
up.
put his brakes on
It
and
is
went
Terry
around
Moore.
it. Terry's played a fine game this evening. He has replaced Doc Lawson in tonight's lineup, and he's been looking after Teofilo Cubilla, so he's done a tremendous job coming in to this playoff game.
Anyway, the foul's called on San Diego, either O'Sullivan or Moore, or one of those guys, and so it'll be a free kick just inside the 35-yard line, the right side. 3-0. Sockers lead it. 18:11 to go in regulation here. At this moment, it's safe to say we are on our way to a mini game.
I would have to think so, but Fort Lauderdale, the second highest scoring team, tied with Tampa Bay in the conference, so they're never out of the game.
Hudson. Or that was Mourinho into Hudson. They work the 1-2, and Hudson scores it. Hudson scores it. And Volkmar Gross and Hudson wanted the ball from Volkmar Gross. But now it's a 3-1 game.
Boy, beautifully set up play here by the Fort Lauderdale strikers for their first goal, as the free kick went in, and there was a one touch by Ray Hudson, and then Gerd Mueller, the great scorer, touched it back to Hudson, who was running through and just put it right into the goal. Nice play, actually, by both Ray Hudson, who will get the goal, and Gerd Mueller on the assist.
And that is Hudson's. Let me get the stats out here, but I believe it's his 5th playoff goal. No, it's his 4th playoff goal. And so it's 3-1, and the ball goes back to Volkmar Gross.
It's a big goal for Fort Lauderdale because they're going to really start pressing now, and that goal can give them momentum if they can't come back in this game for the mini game, like the goal that the Sockers scored. Peter O'Sullivan, actually, towards the end of the Chicago game, gave them the momentum in that mini game. So it's time now that the Sockers defense will have to rise to the occasion once again.
All right, now they have to play tight, tough, and error-free defense. They play the ball up to the San Diego or the Fort Lauderdale end. Sanchez fighting for it, loses it. Francisco Mourinho, they'll play it back now. Wigemanson over to Ravalski. He'll come up the left side into San Diego territory through the midfield across the 35. Centering for John Pott. They've got everybody up. Ravalski again on the left side, centering now for Mourinho. Mourinho shoots, tried to get it through the traffic on the ground. It was cleared away by the Sockers defense. Sock's going to go on a counterattack now. Here goes Wilrich. Left side, feeding Manu Sanon. They're coming up toward the 35. Couldn't keep the flow going, however, and now break down the action at the 35. Sanon, a long lateral pass, a square ball over for Julie V. Actually came backwards. Rodney Bush at midfield. Ray Hudson's goal. They give the assist to Mueller, as you called it. Nico Roman has it all the way back now in the defensive end. Volkmar Gross with it. 3-1 soccer game. Just over 16 minutes to go here. San Diego's defense being put to the test. For comfort, convenience, and relaxation, it's the Circle 7-Eleven Motel in Mission Valley, right next to Nicky's Restaurant. That's Ricky's Restaurant. Ball goes all the way down in the right corner. Goalie Van Waveren comes outside the penalty box to pick it up. Can't touch it out there. It's just another player. Has to bring it back inside the box, where he now picks it up, punts it out. All the way up to the San Diego defensive zone. All the way into the penalty box, and Volkmar Gross gets it on the second bounce. Rick Partridge of the Chargers would love to be able to hit the ball that far. Just about a 90-yard punt.
Well, setting up that play, Hugo Sanchez took Gross's punt, I believe, and just pushed it all the way downfield where there was nobody that could really help him out downfield. And I think that the Sockers have to be a little more careful. They want to waste some time, but they're also going to want to try and hang on to the ball.
Soccer's shaken up. I believe that's Ty Keogh bumped to the ground over there. Holding his eye as if he got kicked or zapped with the ball. Oh, it was Keogh elbowed by Voislander, I believe.
Boy,
I can't believe the ref. Well, it's one of those away from the action. The referee didn't see it. Referee simply didn't see it. If he had seen it, you know there would have been a call.
Absolutely. I mean, a vicious foul as Ty Keogh is trying to get the ball out of trouble. He had one of the strikers coming over and a forearm and elbow that any defensive lineman in football would be proud of. And,
Your basic shiver.
Except Ty didn't have a helmet on to block that.
Well, I believe it was Cruz Voislander who hit him. Well, Ty's up now. Giga Youth Soccer Team, the professional look in uniform, names and numbers. San Diego Silk Screen on Mission Gorge Road. They work for the pros. Let them work for you. And we should congratulate the El Cajon Boys Club Roughnecks. A 7-2 victory today, or 7-3 victory over the Sun Devils of El Cajon. The Roughnecks, by the way, are 2-0 and have beaten the opposition 15 to 5 in their first 2 games. Roughnecks can put it in the net.
Well, the Sockers have proven that too tonight.
Yes, they have. Right corner kick now. Gene Wilrich down in Fort Lauderdale country. I would not get upset personally, Jerry, if they got another one here.
No, I wouldn't mind.
Corner kick short and on the ground. Julie V lets it go by, perhaps thinking Sanchez was trailing, but Fort Lauderdale's Cacciatore won it back, and now Ray Hudson, a long run down the left side. Crossing for Voislander, going into the 35. Ty Keogh bumped him. Down went Voislander. Referee Tervician coming over. And Ray Hudson is giving him what for as to where was the whistle. There will be a whistle and a foul, but he would like more than that for Keogh, but he isn't getting it. So Mourinho will take the free kick, top of the penalty box, left side. Hudson's there as well. Let's see which way they go. Gerd Müller between Gerd Wierzchowski and Keogh. Defensively, a 5-man wall. Watch Cacciatore to the left of the wall. Let's see what they do. Voislander trying to get open. Hudson goes by the ball. Mourinho loops it over the wall. Volkmar punches it over the crossbar. It'll be a corner kick, Fort Lauderdale. Only their 3rd in the game. The Sockers have had 6. Fort Lauderdale has outshot San Diego 4-3 this half, 11-10 in the game. San Diego, the important stat, a 3-1 lead. Hudson's corner kick from the left, long for Wigemans, and he heads it on the ground, bounces it through the goal box, and Volkmar Gross saves it once again.
I think the Sockers now will have to try and push up a little bit more. It seems as if Fort Lauderdale is gaining back that momentum, and regardless if the Sockers can win this game 3-1 or 3-2, more importantly, they'd like to win it 4-1 and gain some of that momentum back for the mini game.
Will be interesting to see as time ticks away and we get down to the final minutes of the half if Ron Newman elects to pull a couple of his players and give them some rest. However, right now there is plenty of time left, and this one is not locked, as they say. Wierzchowski hit by Hudson. A shot, I believe, by Cabillas, or was it Cacciatore? My eye was off. It was either Cabillas or Cacciatore who hit it high in the left corner past Volkmar Gross, and it's 3-2.
Well, that's exactly what I was talking about. My eye was off because I thought there might have been a possible foul with Gert Wierzchowski and one of the striker players, but there's that momentum, and they're gaining it back, and now we know how important that 3rd goal was for the Sockers earlier.
Gert Wierzchowski really made a mistake as Ray Hudson came up, got the ball away. Cacciatore hit it from the top of the penalty box, high and wide on the left, past Volkmar, and it's 3-2. And the momentum has shifted here, ladies and gentlemen. The Sox in desperate straits now must cling for 12 and a half minutes to a 3-2 lead, or the season will end right here.
Boy, it becomes so dangerous when you take the ball and you start to play with it right in front of your own goal, and the Sockers really paid for it that time.
Little Jeff Cacciatore, he's 5'2", 125 pounds. Put it in from about 23 or 4 yards away. Fort Lauderdale maintaining control of the ball. The pressure is on. San Diego in a desperate state now. Mourinho to Pott in the center circle. The ball at midfield. Comes back to Mourinho on the left. San Diego must now play tenacious defense. Rabalski a long cross. The ball gets by. Cacciatore's open again on the right side of the box this time.
I think there was a handball call there on one of the strikers as the ball went over Rodney Bush, and the referee will call the ball back, and Volkmar Gross will start it off with a free kick. Actually, a lucky break for the Sockers right now. They're really going to have to start pushing their guys up again. They're sitting back too much, and they're letting Fort Lauderdale come in and penetrate them up until their penalty box, and that's big danger.
Fort Lauderdale playing with more emotion certainly than they played in the first half, but San Diego playing with a bit less. And Cor Vanderhoort has now got an anticipatory look on his face as he begins to see the light at the end of the tunnel and perhaps a chance to get into the Soccer Bowl for the first time in the history of this franchise. If they can get two, they've got to have two. Ron Newman is certainly pacing the sidelines, wondering where it has gone wrong in the last 4 or 5 minutes of this half. Nico Roman scored first way back in the 1825 mark for San Diego. And Sanchez at the 28:09 mark. Sanchez again at 63:52. And then came Fort Lauderdale as Hudson got it in at 71:54. And then Cacciatore at 77:22 on an assist from Hudson. And it's 3-2, and that's the way it stands right now. The Soccer Shop has moved to North County with new locations in the Plaza West 2 Shopping Center, Solana Beach. For a complete line of soccer and running equipment, check out the Soccer Shop, new in Solana Beach. Ball down now on the Fort Lauderdale end, the San Diego throw-in. Left side. Manu Sanon will take it. Well, he comes forward in the corner for Wilrich. 2 men over there marking Wilrich. Wilrich lost it over the line. Throw in Fort Lauderdale deep in their own corner. Over on the right side of their defensive zone.
Ron Newman possibly going to be making a substitution. I see Doc Lawson on the sidelines. He had been warming up, and now he's standing next to the linesman, is trying to get the officials' attention. The crowd going a little bit crazy because the referee is down discussing something with the players, and I guess called a timeout, but the timeskeeper did not stop it, and the crowd here wants every second they have, and they're going to need it to get back that third and possibly tying goal.
Doc Lawson comes on, and I believe Ty Keogh went off. Keogh did indeed go off. Steve Rybowski with the ball at midfield for Fort Lauderdale. Strikers attacking right to left as we look at it. 9:20 to go half, or in the game regulation time. San Diego clinging desperately now to a 3-2 lead. The ball comes over to John Pott, left side, across the 35 for Cacciatore. He loses it. Rodney Bush lifts it out. Rybowski gets it back for Fort Lauderdale into the San Diego 35 for Mourinho. Cabillas tries to get it to Hudson. Hudson crying for a foul. While he cries, Peter O'Sullivan walks it back out to midfield. Pott steals it away. Now Hudson. Nico Roman gets to him. Hudson getting by Nico on the left side. Now they're over in the right top of the penalty box. A long cross for Cabillas, headed away by Terry Moore. Come outside the box, left side. Cabillas maintains possession. Rodney Bush on defense. Bush turns to run away from him, and in anticipation of the direction Cabillas will take. Cabillas now to Cacciatore. The stands are rocking as the fans are stomping their feet here at Lockhart Stadium. Left side of the penalty box, Rybowski. A long cross, headed away by Terry Moore again. Saved in there by Voislander and booted way out by Doc Lawson. And we are going to have a foul called on Ray Wigamanson as he knocked Hugo Sanchez to the ground. Up at the midfield line, Roy Wigamanson, 21 years old, plays with wisdom beyond his years, most certainly. Under 8 minutes to go now. San Diego with the ball. Doc Lawson plays it back to Volkmar Gross as they continue to play a defensive sort of game. The key, if you're going to play that way, is do not make a mistake. Now Volkmar, a drop kick all the way up to Fort Lauderdale's 35. Gene Wilrich banged from behind by John Pott and is still on the ground. San Diego with 10 men right now. Doc Lawson comes out to his 35, takes it back from Fort Lauderdale. Julie V will get it left flat between the midline and the 35. Play it down in the corner for Manu Sanon. Sanon jumps the defender. Ball goes over the end line. Let's see how they call it. And Sanon is hurt once again. Manu Sanon is down and on the ground, and his trainer Gus Cernides comes out to see what's wrong. Oh my gosh, I don't believe what I just saw. One of the Fort Lauderdale players, Mourinho, reached down and grabbed Sannone by the legs as if to stretch them out and say, stop resting. Unbelievable. Well, while they straighten it out, we'll take a 60-second break here. This is San Diego Soccer's playoff action. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Oh, I can't take these next 7 minutes.
Nice wide.
It's me.
Well, we are back. A San Diego corner kick. Manu Sannone is up. I believe he has gone off. They are over now bunched at the sideline. Leo Cuellar and Jimmy Stamatis have been warming up at the sideline. And it looks as though Stamatis is going to come in the game.
I think we've got Sannone coming out. A very smart move, I believe, by Ron Newman. Why leave him in there to get battered for the next 7 minutes?
All right, Stamatis is coming in for Wilrich. And perhaps Leo Cuellar will be coming in for Sannone. Well, let's see. We got V up front, Sanchez, Rodney Bush, Nico Roman, they're all up there. Play is still halted. Sannone has gone off the field. Now the corner kick. Has San Diego a man short? Perhaps they are. Oh, what a back volley kick by Hugo Sanchez. Hit the outside of the net coming off the corner kick. Game of inches as it missed, and the goal kick by Van Beveren, and the strikers try to get the counterattack going. Roy Wiggemanson brings it up toward midfield. Wiggemanson with it. Crosses for Mourinho. Want to relax and unwind. One beer comes to mind. The great light taste of Olympia beer. Fort Lauderdale's Hudson with it. Peter O'Sullivan running with him. Hudson tripped in the penalty arc by Terry Moore. Going to have a foul there. Penalty arc, not box. So it'll be a free kick.
Boy, Hudson very good on taking the ball and making a quick turn. I think that Peter O'Sullivan's been watching him all night. That's been the main problem. And when he loses him, Hudson can really fly in. They just caught him behind by the legs, just outside the penalty box at the top of the arc.
All right, Hudson will take it. San Diego is a man short right now, as Sannone has gone off, as has Wilrich. Stamatis came in for Wilrich. Gerd Müller tries to hammer it through the wall. Now it is shot wildly by Rybalski as he hit the rebound over the crossbar, and it'll be a San Diego goal kick. Interesting move here by Ron Newman, waiting on the substitution. Now Cuellar is in. Cuellar has now come in, and so San Diego is back up to full strength. Long boot by Volkmar Gross. Jimmy Stamatis tried to fight Cabillas for the ball and went over the far sideline. Leonardo Cuellar, as we say, has come in. Cuellar did not start the game. It had nothing to do with his shoulder injury. It was a tactical move by Ron Newman, feeling that he had a better chance with a different alignment in the midfield for what Fort Lauderdale was doing. And it worked because San Diego took a 3-0 lead. But now with 5.5 to go in regulation, Fort Lauderdale has scratched back on goals by Ray Hudson and Jeff Cacciatore to 3-2. San Diego's defense has the ball, and they will play it back to Volkmar Gross, and the fans boo. They don't like that. Fine accommodations, fine dining. Try the Sands Hotel and Rib Cage Restaurant on Kearney Mesa. The Rib Cage featuring live entertainment Thursday through Saturday. Fort Lauderdale fighting for possession at the San Diego 35 and getting a rise out of the crowd here. San Diego now playing pretty good defense, keeping them in midfield. Rodney Bush runs the ball down, and sliding tackle gets it back to Volkmar Gross. Defense playing well now, Jerry.
Well, again, I want to caution that they must be careful with those passes in front of their own goal because the strikers are all up just trying to get a loose ball. And again, Gerd Mueller is known for picking up those garbage goals. So I'd have to say that the Sockers will have to be careful for the next 4 minutes and 36 seconds.
All right, the midfield for San Diego is Leo Cuellar, Peter O'Sullivan, and Julie V. Stamatis, Sanchez are up front. Actually, V's moved up front. Stamatis playing some fine defense down on the right side of the Fort Lauderdale attack, however, taking the ball away from Wiggemanson, forcing a throw-in. Wiggemanson will take it down on the right side in the corner. Comes into Pott. Ball high in the box, bounding high. Fort Lauderdale trying to get a shot on, and they can't do it as the San Diego defense turns them back, forces them out to the 35. Now Mourinho tries a run, comes to Hudson, right side of the box. Hudson trying to get around Peter O'Sullivan. Now a left foot cross for Pott. Pott one-on-one, great save, Volkmar Gross, as John Pott took a point-blank shot no more than 3 yards away.
Boy, Volkmar Gross at 6'3" and 210 pounds. Was just in a perfect position as the ball came down the right side, and a little bit of a problem there is Mourinho had a beautiful play in stopping the ball and crossing it over. Pott just at the top of the goal mouth took a blast, but Volkmar Gross guarding the post made the save.
Volkmar down on one knee, looking over things as the ball has gone back out to midfield. A throw in San Diego, left side. Colin Fowles comes over and intercepts it. And they call a foul over there on Stamatis. So the strikers free kick and come into San Diego territory. Ball left side for Steve Rybowski. Across the 35. Hudson with it out near the top of the arc. Gets it in for Voislander, who goes down in the box, and the fans want a foul on Doc Lawson, but it wasn't a foul. Now Julie V on a counterattack, feeds it ahead for Hugo Sanchez. Here he goes, running down the left. Or it's Cuellar. Cuellar crossing for Sanchez. Ball on the end line. Sanchez score.
Boy, you talk about Ron Newman being a genius, inserting Peter O'Sullivan earlier in the game for Leonardo Cuellar. How about bringing Leonardo Cuellar in at the end of the game?
A hat trick for Hugo Sanchez as Cuellar brought it down the right side. Crossed from the top of the box. It bounced off Van Beveren, and Sanchez took the comp at the goal line.
Boy, we were just discussing earlier, John, about the momentum. And there you're talking about it. Hugo Sanchez, his third goal in the game. There's only 2 minutes and 36 seconds left. Almost impossible for Fort Lauderdale to come up. This has really quieted the crowd down. Big goal for the Sockers.
2.5 to go, and you wonder what kind of mood it's going to put Fort Lauderdale in for the minigame should it come. It's not over yet, fans. 2:27 to go, 4-2 San Diego. Steve Rybowski with the ball for Fort Lauderdale. Feeds Cacciatore up the left side, inside the 35. Get around Rodney Bush, or tried to. Rodney took a good angle and took it away from him. Rybowski has it again, crosses for Cabillas. Cabillas, an errant pass for Mourinho, forces him all the way back to the 35. Gerd Miller with it. Miller for Voislander, going over to the right side of the box, marked by Doc Lawson. Look out, don't foul him over there. Rodney Bush, Lawson. Rodney Bush fouled him, but from behind and after he got outside the box. And Voislander wanted a piece of Doc Lawson, I should say, not Rodney Bush, Doc Lawson.
Well, a very smart Doc Lawson. I think they wanted a piece of each other. He stood up and started to charge at him and immediately put his hands behind his back.
Oh, I was so afraid that Bush or Lawson, both of whom have given up penalties in the box this year, would have done it again, but they didn't. Cross on the free kick, headed away by Gert Wieserkowski outside the box. Voislander can't get it. Stamatis plays it out. Coming up, Wiggemanson saves possession for Fort Lauderdale. Doc Lawson with a high kick. Cacciatore gets it now at the 35, comes in on the left. Ray Hudson with it, left of the penalty box. Hussing in, and Lawson clears it out of there. Oh, we have had a wild one here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Fort Lauderdale with it, and Terry Moore brings it out of the box. Now a long ball for Julie V. Up in Fort Lauderdale, they've got a 2-on-1. V and Sanchez. Sanchez 1-on-1, gets by Van Beveren, and only the play of Steve Rybowski coming up from behind saved a goal there as San Diego worked the 2-on-1. Outstanding hustle by Robo, as they call him here in Fort Lauderdale.
Great hustle by Rybowski. I don't think that Sanchez saw him with V coming down. It was a nice pass over to Sanchez, but I just don't think he saw Rybowski behind him. Good play and good hustle by Rybowski to get the ball back.
And the crowd was yelling, and if anybody was talking from behind to try and warn Sanchez, he couldn't have heard it. Ball coming all the way back to the defensive end for San Diego. Now Sanchez third goal officially at 87-19. V and Cuellar the assists. So for Sanchez, his 7th playoff goal. For V, his 5th playoff assist. For Cuellar, his 3rd playoff assist. San Diego now touching the ball around as we have less than half a minute to go. We're going to play a mini game, everybody. Coming out of the 22nd mark.
I think the
San Diego will hold it.
I think the Sockers like to take it to a mini game just
Look
to
at
get
the
this
shots.
television exposure.
17-12 shots. Fort Lauderdale out shooting San Diego. Volkmar 5 saves, 2 outstanding saves in the second half. Time ticking away, 4 seconds. And time expires, but the referee who keeps the official time may stop it, because he wanted to call a foul on San Diego, but he doesn't have time to. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, officially. San Diego wins the equalizer 4-2, and we go to the mini game for the North American Soccer League American Conference Championship. And what a game we have had here, ladies and gentlemen. It has been unbelievable. You can't imagine the play of the San Diego Sockers tonight, coming over what some thought would be insurmountable odds. We'll be back. This is North American Soccer League playoff action. With the same team that was on the field when the regulation ended. No, Arsene Auguste is in now for Fort Lauderdale. He's a defensive midfield player. So we have Cabillas, Auguste, Hudson, and Miller in the midfield for Fort Lauderdale. Miller's up front, I'm sorry. Uh-oh, look out. Here goes Fort Lauderdale. Hudson gets by one-man arc and scores! Oh, no! Ray Hudson, with just 1 minute gone, broke in from the top of the penalty arc, got an open lane at the top of the box, and put it in, and Fort Lauderdale has gone up 1-0 in the minigame. They haven't done it easily all night, or all season, San Diego hasn't. Remember, they went down 1-0 in Tampa, tied it, and won in a shootout. That situation has been set up again with Ray Hudson's second goal of the night. Ball went inside the San Diego 35. It was played ahead to Hudson. Hudson to Miller at the top of the penalty box, penalty arc. Hudson broke around Nico Roman and shot a hard right footer, beating Volkmar Gross in the corner to his right. And so it is 1-0 Fort Lauderdale, 13:45, first half of the minigame left. Ken Fogarty is back in for Fort Lauderdale. He went out in the regular game. And he and Terry Moore just came together at midfield. Fort Lauderdale with the ball now. That's Auguste on the far side. Plays it to Teofilo Cabillas. Now Cabillas is fouled by Terry Moore, and the strikers are going to have a free kick. Let's not lose control early here, San Diego.
Well, Cabillas and Moore exchanging a few words there, and Moore gesturing that Cabillas might have kicked him, but the referee just trying to clear out the two teams that are arguing right at that point. I don't think he'd want to throw anyone out and have a major decision in how this game is decided. I think he just wants the two teams to play, and that's really the way it should be. But
Terry Moore and Colin Fowles. Terry Moore wants a piece of Colin Fowles. Fowles kind of laughing at him. Terry had better relax. So had Fowles, or the cards will come out. United Airlines with Daily Royal Hawaiian Service, our little corner of the world, Hawaii. United building San Diego's largest non-stop airline around you. Ray Hudson will take the free kick for Fort Lauderdale. What a wild night we've had here at Lockhart Stadium. San Diego, if you've just joined us, winning the regulation game 4-2. We're now 2 minutes into the minigame, and Fort Lauderdale has taken a 1-0 lead. This is for the conference championship. Auguste tried a shot, couldn't get it in. Couldn't even get it in the box. Now Fogarty with it for Fort Lauderdale at the San Diego 35. Passes up to the left of the San Diego box for Jeff Cacciatore. Cacciatore bends it around Cuellar. And San Diego's defense gets it out of there. Peter O'Sullivan plays it ahead to Sanon in the center circle. Now a ball over to Julie V, left flat. Poach the center circle. Peter O'Sullivan takes it into Fort Lauderdale territory. Leaves it for Cuellar. Plays it out to the left, and Julie V approaching the 35. V across in for Hugo Sanchez. Intercepted by Roy Wigemenson. Here comes Fort Lauderdale on a counterattack. Cabillas plays it to Hudson. The ball's in the center circle. Nico Roman marking him tightly there. Now he comes out to Arsene Auguste. To Jeff Cacciatore at the midline. Leo Cuellar back to Auguste. Cuellar on defense. Fort Lauderdale passing it around at midfield. Now they are showing patience, waiting for something to develop. Not panicking. They have the 1-goal lead now. Fogarty and Julie V, a little one-on-one action there. Now the ball comes over to the left side again for Wigemenson. Plays it to the midline, and Cacciatore, the little 5'2", 125-pounder they call Chicken Man. A long ball by Gerd Mueller up to Hudson on the left. Gert Wieserkowski clears it over the end line. It'll be a Fort Lauderdale corner kick.
Well, time is definitely on the striker's side right now.
Volkmar Gross is angry about something. I think he thinks Hudson was offsides.
Volkmar calling all his defenders back. At this point, the Sockers cannot possibly allow another goal.
Volkmar Gross placing Doc Lawson in on the post. The kick goes way out to Auguste at the 35. He comes in and tries a long shot, misses far on the left side as Auguste shot a torpedo in there from the 35-yard line. San Diego cannot panic. They must settle down, play their game, get the goal to even it. They've got 11 minutes to go in the first half of the minigame. Gert Wieserkowski plays it up into Fort Lauderdale territory through the center circle to Peter O'Sullivan. A pass to Terry Moore. Terry Moore over on the left to Julie V is intercepted by Colin Fowles. Fowles will play a long run up the right sideline, crossing the midline into San Diego territory, where O'Sullivan forces him to slow down the action. Pass to Auguste. Cabillas with it. Now Auguste, left side, midfield. Hudson comes up behind him. Cross in for Cacciatore, top of the penalty box. Chip it to Gerd Mueller in the penalty arc. Volkmar Gross comes out and gets the loose ball in the penalty box. Throws it out quickly on the left side to Julie V. V with it at midfield. V, a long cross for Nico Roman. It's intercepted there by John Pott. Boomed over the far sideline. It'll be a San Diego throw-in. If driving all over town looking for back-to-school values is driving you crazy, discover FedMart, where you'll save on everything your family needs for back-to-school. Many schools back in session now, more coming back together this week. Ball all the way back now in the defensive zone of Fort Lauderdale. San Diego trying to get something going. Sanchez knocked to the ground in the penalty box, looking to the referee for a penalty kick. It doesn't come. Van Beveren, the goalkeeper, has it for Fort Lauderdale. Nico Roman putting pressure on him. He throws it out to midfield. And time is stopped now by the referee, Tremidjian. He stops play as one of the strikers, Ken Fogarty, had a problem with the shoelace.
Newman pushing Nico Roman up, and will possibly be looking to go into the air to the big guy up there, because I'm sure that Fort Lauderdale will try and sit back just to protect that 1-goal lead.
Leo Cuellar trying to run it on the right around Arsene Auguste, loses it over the near sideline, so it's a throw-in for Fort Lauderdale at their own 35. Auguste will take it. Throws it up on the left side for Teofil Cabillas, a centering ball for Gerd Mueller just inside the 35. He now plays it back out to midfield, and Cacciatore going in toward the box, plays it ahead to Cabillas. Moore marking him. Cacciatore trying to get open. Rodney Bush kept him from doing so. Cabillas on the left, driven out of the penalty box by Terry Moore, all the way to the corner. It's the left corner. Cabillas breaking back in now, and he hits Nico Roman with it. It goes over the end line. It'll be a Fort Lauderdale corner kick.
Cabillas playing the same game he did in San Diego, taking the ball into the corner and trying to waste some time and just play around with it back there.
Be careful here. San Diego's had trouble all year on dead ball situations. It'll be Ray Hudson taking the corner kick. Volkmar Gross with Gerd Wieserkowski and Doc Lawson flanking him on the left. left as we look at it, his right. Kick comes all the way out to Auguste, and then he plays it to the far side, and Colin fouls. Outside San Diego's 35. Fouls breaking in. Julie V picking up the defense. Julie V taking the ball away. Referee calling a foul on Julie V. Too much contact in there. Fort Lauderdale free kick about 3 yards outside the 35-yard line. Well, they move it closer than that now. Arsene Auguste, a citizen of Haiti, 28 years of age, good-sized fella, 6'3", 185 pounds. Came to Fort Lauderdale in a trade with Tampa Bay. Long free kick in there. Rodney Bush heads the ball to Volkmar Gross as they tried to get it in to Jeff Cacciatore. That's kind of funny. They tried to get it in the air to Cacciatore. He's 5'2". Volkmar is 6'3". Rodney Bush is 5'10", 5'11". Nico Roman was back there. He's over 6 feet. That guy needed a ladder to get a head ball. Volkmar Gross's free kick. Well, he hooked it too far over the far sideline, so it'll be a Fort Lauderdale throw-in, their own end on the right side. Auguste, 5 NASL seasons with Tampa Bay. Scored the winning goal in Soccer Bowl 75 for the Rowdies. So he knows what this kind of pressure's all about. Ray Hudson throwing it in for Fort Lauderdale. Now they're down in San Diego territory. Ken Fogarty at midfield with it. Chips it up to Hudson. They're fighting for it now. And San Diego's Julie V comes up with it. Now Nico Roman, center circle. Passes over to V. Roman goes up. Ron Newman wants his height up there. Julie V running it up. Nico Roman sprinting up to the top of the box. Fort Lauderdale takes the ball back, however, as Wigemanson once again does a job on defense. Starting to look like Thursday night's getting scary. 6.5 to go, first half. Mini game. 1-0 Fort Lauderdale. Jeff Cacciatore coming down the left side across the 35 of San Diego. Rodney Bush on defense. Passes back to Arsene Auguste. Over to Fogarty. Fogarty toward the center of the field at the 35. Comes back to Voislander with it. And it goes out over the far sideline off the San Diego soccer player, so it'll be a Fort Lauderdale throw-in over there, and Teofilo Cabillas will take it.
The soccer's just getting in between to stop their plays, but they're not controlling the ball, and that's the main thing that they have to do now, gain control and get back on that counterattack.
Ball comes in. San Diego gets it out of their area. Leo Cuellar into Julie V in the center circle. Auguste picking up the defense. Auguste sliding tackle. V trips over him. Play on, says the referee. No foul. Grabowski with it. Grabowski shoots. Great save, Volkmar. Cabillas shoots. A kick save, Volkmar. I don't believe it. Grabowski hammered it from the penalty arc. Volkmar dove off his feet to his left and saved it as Grabowski had drilled it. Unbelievable play by Volkmar. Just got his arms on it. Now he's laying flat on the ground. Cabillas shoots from inside the goal mouth and hits Volkmar on the knees with it. Unbelievable activity in there by Volkmar Gross. Ball all the way back down far end now. Throw in San Diego, Fort Lauderdale country, but they're going to lose ball back to the Strikers. Strikers have maintained domination of play here so far in the early going. Fort Lauderdale still with the ball. Ray Hudson, a long ball up the left side for Jeff Cacciatore. Crosses San Diego's 35. Fans on their feet. Cacciatore tries to get it into Cabillas in the penalty box. Cleared away by Nico Roman, and he'll run it all the way out to midfield. Passes ahead for Sanchez. Has it intercepted by Fogarty, but it goes over the far sideline. Throw in Sockers.
I think the big thing, they're going to have to get Nico Roman up there now and try and go with the long ball, because there's about 6 or 7 Fort Lauderdale defenders hanging back. They don't want anything to do. I mean, they don't care about another goal. Volkmar's made a couple great saves right there. They just can't allow one to get in.
San Diego fighting with the ball. For the ball, Manu Sanon. He lost it over the end line. It'll be a Fort Lauderdale goal kick.
I think right now you're seeing a little bit of frustration on the part of the Sockers. I think the main thing is, and possibly the captain Leonardo Cuellar can do it, is calm them down. Play the type of game that they were playing in the regulation game, and get the passes in. And they played a tremendous game against the Strikers in regulation. Just try and do that again.
All right, a goal kick, Fort Lauderdale. Van Beveren will take it. Booms it up to midfield. Lawson heads it for San Diego and maintains control. Gets it to Gerd Wietrkowski. He's fighting Rybalski for the ball over there. Now Hudson wins it back for Fort Lauderdale, but it comes all the way back to Lawson, so the Sox still have it. Pass ahead now for Wietrkowski. Pass on the left for a breaking Peter O'Sullivan. Sliding tackle, call and foul. Slid too hard. Foul on fouls. Free kick San Diego. Rodney Bush takes it quickly. Cuellar to V. Top of the arc. Ball bounding, and Van Beveren comes out and gets it in the goal mouth. As San Diego nearly had a chance to even it right there.
Boy, it's going to be very difficult to get a goal in that way. There's so many strikers converging on these soccer players right at the top of the penalty area. It becomes very difficult.
Look out, ball bouncing in the penalty box as Van Beveren punted it all the way down to the other end of the field, intended for Cabillas. Terry Moore was shaken up, I believe. He's down on the field. It's a leg injury or a cramp, perhaps. It looks like a cramp. Terry Moore, a painful cramp as he's on the field, and his calves and ankles have tied up. And Gus Serenides, the trainer, is out there rubbing down the right leg of Terry Moore, the left leg. He may have cramps in both legs.
Boy, that wouldn't be surprising. If you can recall, after the Tampa Bay regulation game, a number of the Tampa Bay players had to be taken out. You're talking about 90 minutes of regulation, and for the Sockers, it's been all out trying to get a couple goals and to win the game, which they did. And then you're talking about another 30 minutes. So this is not done in any other country, this much time on the field for the two teams, and it's really going to take its toll by the end of today's game.
Jimmy Stamatis is up and warming up on the sideline should Moore not be able to continue. For limited special offers on baseball gloves and swimsuits, drop in at Sports Scene on Navajo Road in San Carlos for the finest sporting goods. Sports Scene has what you need, and we thank them for bringing us part of this broadcast. The San Diego Sockers thank all their advertisers for the support this season. Greatest season, really, in terms of comeback. They've won the division twice before. This is not the first time they've reached the conference final. But they were virtually out of it. When you go back to the middle of the season, it was a team in disarray. There were problems. Players were unhappy. Bobby Bell and Fred Whitaker were able to convince Ron Newman to come to San Diego and try and straighten things out. And he's done that.
Absolutely. No wild card team has ever made it into the Soccer Bowl. The team that went the farthest, other than the San Diego Sockers this year, were the 1978 Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and at the time they were under the guidance of Ron Newman, and they lost to the Tampa Bay Rowdies in a shootout at Tampa Bay. So Ron's been one kick away from going to Soccer Bowl. Right now, one goal away from tying it up here in Lockhart Stadium.
Jim Stamatis has come on. Terry Moore has gone off. The ball is back in play. San Diego, Rodney Bush with it. Comes up to the striker 35, and Jeff Cacciatore intercepts a pass intended for Stamatis. Sox have got to recover on defense. Here goes Cabillas against Roman, crossing for Gerd Miller to work the 1-2. Doc Lawson intercepts that play. Good job, Doc Lawson. San Diego with it back in midfield again. Leo Cuellar through the center circle. A ball for Lawson over on the left side. Peter O'Sullivan with it. Comes over to the near side in center circle area for Nico Roman. Roman gets by Gerd Miller with it. Comes up the right, passes ahead to Rodney Bush. Auguste picks up the defense. Roman was dumped in the penalty box. Is it going to happen?
I don't think so. I think he's just calling a throw-in, or yes, a throw-in.
Got me all excited there. Ray Hudson just dumped Gerd Wietrkowski on the right side and near the 35, and a foul will be called on Hudson, so San Diego will have a free kick.
Boy, knowing after the Chicago game, I don't think that a referee will call a penalty kick in the minigame unless, again, a Mack truck runs on the field and runs over one of the players driven by a striker.
I'll tell you, we have got to have won over a bunch of new soccer fans tonight if they took time to take this one in. Long cross by Cuellar, intended for Lawson, couldn't get the head on it, and a foul called back there on a soccer, so it'll be a free kick for Fort Lauderdale. I believe Rodney Bush fouled in there. Nothing but excitement, action, motion, and so far 7 goals in this one tonight. between the two games. 4-2, San Diego winning the regulation. 45 seconds left, first half mini game. 1-0 Fort Lauderdale lead. San Diego 15 minutes to equalize. Rodney Bush at midfield with it for the Sockers. Plays it up the right to Jim Stamatis at the 35. He comes back to Bush with it. Pass into Cuellar. Tried to work the 1-2 with Bush, and Arsene Auguste will police it out of there. Nice job of defense by the Haitian defender. Kicked it upfield, lost it over the near sideline. It'll be a Sockers throw-in.
Boy, a nice gesture there by Cor Vanderhart stopping the ball. He actually could have let it roll, and the clock would have wound down to finish the first half of this mini game. Gives the Sockers another chance.
Leo Cuellar, a high volley kick. 3 seconds to go. Ball at midfield. Time expires. First half of the mini game. Fort Lauderdale leads it 1-0.
Boy,
And go ahead, I'm
talk
sorry.
about what a crowd can do. Just about a standing room only crowd here at Lockhart Stadium. They've never seen their strikers go to Soccer Bowl again. The farthest was when Ron Newman was coaching them in 1978. I got to believe that right now, with the crowd pumping them up, the strikers have that Soccer Bowl look right in their eyes. But Ron Newman across the field right now, trying to give a little pep talk to his guys. They're going to have to push up. There's no doubt about it. The strikers are more or less laying back. But you got to remember the last game that was held in San Diego, it was more or less all second half. It was defense. There's Ron Newman talking to his players. It was all defense for the strikers, but the Sockers got one in late in the game, and there's still 15 minutes left.
Newman is now talking to Gerd Wietrzykowski over there, perhaps changing the way Gerd's going to play in terms of watching the players as they come in. Wietrzykowski had responsibility during most of the game for Hudson in terms of man-on-man defense. Cor Vanderhart on the near sideline is talking to Gerd Mueller about little or nothing. The strikers have to feel very confident right now. They are home with 15 minutes to play with a 1-goal advantage. And I'm sure they feel now they are 15 minutes away from Soccer Bowl. However, if they are intelligent, they will not be thinking that way. They will be thinking that they have got to stop the Sockers, because the Sox obviously are capable of putting one in. Let's take a look at the way the first half happened. It was Ray Hudson breaking in from the top of the penalty box on a pass from Gerd Mueller, bending a right footer around Peter O'Sullivan on one side and by Volkmar Gross on the other to put the strikers up 1-0. And that's the way it stands after 15 minutes of this mini game.
I'd almost have to think that the strikers were a little overconfident going into the first game. After the game in San Diego, I know on the plane coming back, there was a lot of levity, and they were talking about whose wife would be going to Soccer Bowl and what type of reservations that they should make. And they saw a completely different San Diego soccer team out here in the regulation game. And Ron Newman is walking out on the field as both teams get ready for the final 15 minutes of this American Conference Championship. And he's just standing there talking with Leonardo Cuellar and Julie V, and trying to possibly change something that he saw go wrong in the first half of the mini game and get the Sockers on the scoreboard and back into it.
One thing that has to happen, they have to take some shots. In the first 15 minutes, the strikers outshot them 6-0. Gross credited with 2 saves, obviously Van Reyren with none. Ball is in play as Fort Lauderdale gets first touch. They're attacking left to right as we look at the field here. San Diego's got to get some people up front. Julie V and Hugo Sanchez break up as Sanon tried to get the ball to him, but it was stolen away by Gerd Mueller. Cavillas breaking down the right side, shoots! Save Volkmar Gross, a long run, about 50 yards. Cavillas with the ball, just put it on. Flat out ran the San Diego defense. San Diego coming back midfield. Jimmy Stamatis runs it down, takes it from Cacciatore, whom he played against in college. Gene Wilrich saves it, or tries to, for San Diego. Fort Lauderdale clears it back out to midfield. Ray Hudson has it. Time a ticking away. The San Diego soccer season coming to an end if they can't get the equalizer. The Strikers will move on to Soccer Bowl. Play the Cosmos, who beat the Aztecs 3-1 today. Sox on goal now. Julie V chips it into the penalty box. Nobody down there to help out.
I think a little obstruction right there. V was trying to make his move around the Fort Lauderdale striker defender, and he did get the ball around him. It was a kind of a pretty play if he would have been able to scoot around him, but the defender just got in his way, and an obstruction call whistled alertly by Toros Cabrichin.
Leo Cuellar is over there. Hugo Sanchez. Manu Sanon. Let's see what kind of play the Sox work on the free kick. It's direct, it looks like, as Fort Lauderdale sets up the wall.
By the referee not stopping the clock while he's setting up the wall.
All right, Leo Cuellar touches it short. Sanchez tried to boom it through the wall. Ball comes out to Wilridge. Cuellar tried to loop it over again for V breaking in. San Diego still fighting for possession. Fort Lauderdale in, top of the penalty box. Right side, now it comes into the middle. Ball still bouncing around. We've got a whistle. A foul on Nico Roman, or a handball. A handball called in there.
I saw Rodney Bush go over and lightly tap Gerd Mueller, and Gerd more or less resembling a tree trunk.
And Bush getting a yellow card for it.
Did a little acting there. I think he's taken some lessons this season and more or less dove backwards. The referee just seeing him on the field and went over and giving the yellow card. Hugo Sanchez trying to explain to the referee right now what happened, but at this point it's only history with the referee writing up the yellow card infraction.
12 minutes, 42 seconds to go in our mini game. Fort Lauderdale leads at 1-0 on a Ray Hudson goal, 57 seconds in of the first half. Van Beveren booms it out of there for Fort Lauderdale up to Gerd Mueller, goes over his head. Gerd Wierzchowski hammers it all the way back to Hugo Sanchez, bumped from behind by Hudson. Ball at midfield. Doc Lawson with it for San Diego. Leo Cuellar. Jimmy Stamatis with it. Goes up on the right side to Gene Wilrich. Gets around one man. Break in toward the penalty box. Cross it in there if he can. Can't. Goes over the end line. And it looks like it'll be a Fort Lauderdale goal kick, I believe.
I believe so. A little bit of acting there on the part of Gene Wilrich, but he didn't get the benefit of the doubt from the referee. Nice play breaking around the side, but just couldn't get the ball into the middle. They're going to have to take some shots on goal if they expect to score.
Haven't yet. Well, they're credited with one. Fort Lauderdale with 7 shots to the Sockers 1. 11:45 to go. 1-0 Strikers. Soccer Man keeping up with San Diego Soccer Explosion. Your best bet for team and individual soccer equipment is Soccer Man. With locations on Sports Arena Boulevard and Hamishaw Road out in El Cajon. Nico Roman shoots far out. Oh, misses wide on the right. Nico Roman breaking in from the 35. Boomed a long right footer. Just missed on the right side high.
But nice little give and go and a long shot by Nico that just missed the far post. Maybe it's a good omen that the Sockers are being outshot. It seems like every time a team gets outshot in the game, they end up winning, and it's happened in the first 2 games of this series so far.
Time a ticking away. 11 minutes to go. Van Beveren booms it up to midfield for little Cacciatore. Jimmy Stamatis wins the heights battle there. It comes down the right side. Wilrich fighting Arsene Auguste for it. It's going to be a Sockers corner kick as it went over the end line. Gene Wilrich will take the corner kick. He goes long, and it goes over the end line, and it'll be a Fort Lauderdale goal kick, and you don't like to waste those corner kick opportunities like that.
No, considering that it was almost on, I don't know if it was a corner kick. It was so long ago and so many goals have been scored that Nico Roman scored his first one. Free kick. On a header. You really do hate to waste a good opportunity like that.
As Van Beveren boots it, we remind you to authentic Giorgio's Greek Village on Claremont Drive, offering the finest in Greek dining and entertainment. As we've been repeating ourselves, no matter what happens tonight here to the San Diego Sockers, it's been an emotional and unbelievable exciting season. Look out. Right wing or left wing cross coming over for Ravalski, coming down as the Strikers come into the San Diego end. Lawson picks up Rewalski, centers it for Gerd Mueller, heads it ahead for Hudson. Hudson shoots it high, save, one hand, Volkmar Gross. And Volkmar has come down, and he is holding his right foot as if he bruised a foot or sprained an ankle or something. He is also yelling at his defenders, "Where are you?" Cross from Rewalski went to Gerd Mueller. He headed it forward to Hudson, top of the goal mouth, right footer high. Volkmar, a one-handed punch came down on the side of that right leg and apparently bruised an ankle or the right side of his foot.
Boy, a big play by Volkmar. Obviously, a second goal by the strikers now would more or less nail the coffin shut.
Keep in mind one thing, I don't want to interrupt you, but John Putna has a badly inflamed right elbow, the backup goalie. Could not play tonight, according to Dr. Peter Poole. Volkmar is up, however, and so that point becomes moot as the strikers will set up the corner kick on the near side. And Steve Rewalski will take it over there. Well, Ray Hudson's there, too. Let's see how they play it. Maybe they'll go short. Doc Lawson is over right in front of them, as is Leo. Hudson takes it, goes out to the top of the box for Gerd Mueller. It is headed away by Gene Wilrich. And San Diego tries to counterattack. Rewalski takes the ball away from Leo Cuellar. Look out, here they come inside 35. Arcina Gust scores. Well, that was Cabillas. Teofilo Cabillas broke in open on the left side of the penalty box and would seemingly have put Fort Lauderdale in the soccer bowl as he got open. A mistake on defense by San Diego, no question about it. Cabillas came in, man, one alive. He was wide open. Perhaps the mistake was made out by the 35 when Leo Cuellar could not maintain possession. Steve Rewalski was able to cross the ball in for Mueller, who pushed it back out to Cabillas, breaking in on the left side. Volkmar Gross, frustrated, dejected, sitting on the ground in the goal box, asking Gert Wietrzykowski in German, I'm sure, what happened? How could it possibly have gone wrong? Rewalski from about the 30-yard line, if it were a football field, saw Mueller breaking in behind Wietrzykowski, chipped it ahead for Cabillas as Gerd Mueller did a classic job of creating space in the penalty box, drawing Gert Wietrzykowski out of the lane for Cabillas. Somebody got a piece of it as it went in, but it's 2-0 Fort Lauderdale with 8:48 to go in the mini game. And here come the strikers again as they take it away. They've got a 2-on-1 break. Can't believe they're not going to score here. Doc Lawson and Cabillas one-on-one. Cabillas misses, hits the pipe on the right side.
Boy, the Sockers are going to send everyone up. They're going to send all 10 players. I think if he could, he'd take Volkmar Gross out and send someone else up, because letting in another goal doesn't mean anything right now. They've got to get one on the board. They've got to get two on the board to at least tie it up.
Sockers with the ball in midfield. Jimmy Stamatis, a center circle pass for Leo Cuellar. 8:13 to go. Cuellar to Gert Wietrzykowski. The only man back is Doc Lawson. Wietrzykowski, a long cross in for Nico Roman. He heads it, save Van Weveren. Volkmar Gross is coming up to help Doc Lawson on defense. He walked all the way outside the penalty box. Gerd Mueller is camped down there by himself. Fort Lauderdale with the ball back in the San Diego end, or their own, Fort Lauderdale's defensive end. Cacciatore now plays a ball for Colin Fowles, or Argust, that is, going up the left side out of the back line. It was stolen away by Gene Wilrich. San Diego with it. Get a rush on here if they can. Rodney Bush ahead to Hugo Sanchez. Sanchez tried to work it through two striker players to Sanon and couldn't do it as John Pott clears it away for Fort Lauderdale. Gerd Mueller and Cabillas, one-on-one or two-on-one with Doc Lawson there near the center circle. Officially 20:42 of the minigame. Cabillas from Rewalski. The first one, Ray Hudson from Mueller at 57 seconds of the minigame. Unbelievable display of soccer by both teams here tonight. It's been a fantastic evening of soccer here at Lockhart Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Have to say that if you just love the game. Two teams fighting for everything. The classic confrontation in sports. The playoff series coming down to just one 30-minute game.
I see that Cor Vanderhart's looking to make a substitution, putting in I think a more defensive player. I think that's
Wants to get
Waslander.
Waslander in there. And now he does.
And takes
for
Gerd
Gerd
Mueller.
Mueller, number 15, who will come out to a standing ovation.
Boy, he's had one tremendous series. Although he hasn't had the goals, Mueller, he's created the space, and he's really assisted on a number of goals. A couple give and goes here today with Ray Hudson. So very fine series for the German international.
All right, Fort Lauderdale with it, midfield. 6:25 to go. They lead 2-0. Season ticking away for San Diego as Fort Lauderdale begins to play the defensive style and plays the ball all the way back to their goalie, Van Beveren. Van Beveren boots it up into the Fort Lauderdale offensive end where Voslander has it. Cabillas now, one-on-one with Doc Lawson, goes over to Voslander at the top of the arc. Cabillas shoots and misses way wide as Cabillas and Voslander tried to work the 1-2 coming in from the top of the San Diego penalty box. And Martin Donnelly has come on for San Diego now. Donnelly, Wierzchowski, Lawson, and Stamatis are the back four. But they got to get the ball to Sanon, Roman, V, the guys up front, Wilrich. Nico Roman is now a forward. He is just playing up front. There are no midfielders in the game, really. Don't need any at this point. Sanchez, Sanon, Stamatis, V, all offensive-oriented players. Cuellar, Wilrich, Donnelly, Stamatis, we mentioned. Nico Roman, Doc Lawson, Gerd Wierzchowski, and Volkmar Gross. Those are the men on the field. Here comes San Diego. Wilrich, right side of the penalty box. Breaks around one man. Feeds it into V. V, cross for Donnelly. V, back to V, top of the penalty box, right side. Sanchez trying to get a foot on it. Finally cleared away by Roy Wigemanson. Saved. Gerd Wierzchowski keeps it in that end. And now Fort Lauderdale's going to have a shot. Here goes Ravalski down the right side. There is only Doc Lawson there to help Volkmar Gross as Cabillas comes down along with Voslander. Cabillas, penalty arc, goes over to Voslander now with it. Right side or left side of the penalty box. San Diego finally gets some guys back on defense. Good reaction there as they were able to slow it down. I think Fort Lauderdale slowed it down as well. 4.5 minutes to go now in the mini game. Ray Hudson over to Arsena Goose, left side, defensive end. Play it up to Koos Voslander. Breaks by one man, is tripped outside the box by Martin Donnelly. A foul will be called on Martin Donnelly as Koos Voslander, a Dutch player, 23 years of age, was fouled. San Diego had what could well be their only real chance, turned away a minute or so ago. 2-0. 11 shots Fort Lauderdale this game, 4 San Diego. Wierzchowski, I believe, has he just been carded? Yes, he has. As Kermidjan is obviously telling him to back off or he's going to get another one, and that would send him out of here. The referee, I'm sure, bending over backwards to avoid red carding anyone in this mini game. No referee wants to be the man. Well, I won't say no referee. I'm glad there's one referee not here tonight, Mr. Carpenter. But basically, an official doesn't want to be the man who decides a game like this.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. Wierzchowski went over and handed the ball a little roughly, I guess, to Cabrichin to tell him to put it down and get the play started. And the referee just didn't like that.
Free kick, high and wide, over the end line. Goal kick, San Diego. Goose just boomed it. Went all the way up in the seats. Ray Hudson at the 57-second mark from Gerd Mueller made it 1-0. Teofilo Cabillas from Rabalski on the 1-2 play at 20:42 made it 2-0. San Diego with the ball now. Here they come. Wilrich, center. Wilrich loses it to Jeff Cacciatore. A striker player is down.
We said at the beginning of the show hours ago that it would be Ray Hudson and Teofilo Cabillas that the Sockers would have to shut down. And
it's been them, hasn't it?
It's exactly, and that's been the big problem. We got Ken Fogarty down with an injury right now, and boy, there's just so much soccer tonight. It's really taking its wear on the players. Like you said before, regardless of what happens in the next 3 minutes and 33 seconds, it's just been a Cinderella season for the San Diego Sockers. A lot of controversy surrounding them, the firing of Hubert Vogelsinger earlier in the year, the bringing on of Ron Newman. And as Fred Whitaker said in the halftime, July 15th really marked a big day in the San Diego Sockers history, and one-class coach in Ron Newman coming back here to Fort Lauderdale.
Fogarty doesn't want to come off. Coach Cor Vanderhoort wanted to bring him off and bring Mourinho in. Fogarty, obviously with a badly sprained left ankle, still arguing that he doesn't want to come out of there. He's an Englishman, and you know how those Englishmen are. And now he's going to be, well, they wanted to carry him off the field. He wouldn't let them do that either. Cor Vanderhoort, thinking of Soccer Bowl, wants Fogarty, his fine defensive midfielder, available for that one. That'll give him a week, 8 days to get ready, get over whatever the injury is, perhaps a sprained ankle. Francisco Mourinho is coming on now. It will be a San Diego free kick from outside the 35-yard line. Martin Donnelly and Doc Lawson. As the Sox have everybody up, Volkmar Gross standing solitary at his own 35-yard line. Donnelly booms it high for Nico, can't get to it. Goes over the end line. It'll be a goal kick, Fort Lauderdale.
Another striker player down right in front of the goal. Van Beveren walking over there to place the ball down.
That looks like Arsena Gust. Well, no, I see him on the other side of the field.
And Kubias is, it must be Colin Fowles.
It is. Colin Fowles is down. Well, you hate to see anybody severely injured. And now, it's apparent that Fort Lauderdale is going to have the opportunity to represent the American Conference and Soccer Bowl. And as soon as time ticks off, and if they do win, then obviously San Diego's best wishes will go to the Strikers, representing our conference in the big one against the Cosmos.
There's no doubt about it. It's been just an absolutely incredible playoffs. San Diego again coming back in the first round, beating Chicago, in the second round beating Tampa Bay, the team that eliminated the Sockers for the past 2 years, and then almost overcoming insurmountable odds by winning the regulation game here and having a tough time here in the mini game, but a valiant effort by the wild card team, the San Diego Sockers.
2-0 Fort Lauderdale with 3:20 to go. Jan Van Beveren boots it out of there. Up toward midfield, left side. Nico Roman can't get it. However, Martin Donnelly helps win it for San Diego. And Fort Lauderdale's little tiger, Jeff Cacciatore, boy, he is unbelievable. For if he weighed if he was 6'5" and weighed 200 pounds, he'd rule the world.
Well, I like him. He's smaller than I am.
Nobody's smaller than you are.
Yes, he is.
You're wearing elevators. All right, look out. Here come the Strikers back again. Francisco Mourinho to Voslander over on the right side, just inside San Diego's 35-yard line. Sox able to get 4 guys back to help out on defense. Now they have to play both ends of the field, because if they give up another one, they don't have a chance. They still got a chance if they can find a way to get a couple quick ones here. A lot of action down in the corner. Goes over the line. Stamatis throws it in for San Diego. Mourinho, as we said, replacing Fogarty. Doc Lawson with the ball center circle. San Diego heading for the left side. And Manu Sanon marked over there by Colin Fowles. Steve Rybalski picks it up. They'll double team. Sanon dumped by Fowles. Ball tackled over the end line. I believe we'll have a San Diego corner kick. No, they're calling that a goal kick.
Boy, when things go your way, they just don't stop.
We've got 2 minutes to go. Sanon with the ball on the left side had it. Rybalski came up, picked up the defense. Colin Fowles went after him from behind. Sanon did try to kick it around Kubias, or Fowles, and it did go over the end line, so a good call there by the linesman, have to admit that. Ball punted up to midfield by Van Beveren. Wide variety of sporting equipment. Try Thelma Sports Plus on West Point Loma Boulevard, right next to Robb Field. Minute and a half. Voslander breaking away. As time ticks away, it would appear that the Fort Lauderdale Strikers are going to be representing the American Conference and Soccer Bowl. But let us say, what a thrilling and exciting season for soccer in San Diego. If the Sockers have not won over new fans through this playoff series and the way they have battled back time and time again, I can't believe it'll ever get much better. They have turned the town on. Before the season, it was called Bring San Diego to its feet. They have done that, no question about it. And we certainly hope you'll call 280-GOAL right now as Mourinho takes a free kick and Gross gets it. We certainly hope you'll call 280-4625, 280-GOAL, and reserve your 1981 outdoor season tickets, your 1980-81 indoor season tickets at the Sports Arena. The soccer players are grateful for your support, but I must say on their behalf, I think they earned it. Joe Robbie is now walking on the track in front of the seats as 30 seconds remain. The fans are up. Joe Robbie, the owner, well, we can't call him the owner. Elizabeth Robbie is the owner, it says on paper. Joe Robbie, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. You know, you're not supposed to own another sport if you own an NFL franchise. But Joe Robbie is the man out in front right now, the husband of the owner. Elizabeth is down there with him. And I guess though we got upset on the airplane while they were making plans for their wives' hotel rooms in Washington and Soccer Bowl, they were certainly prudent because those wives will need those rooms. Time a-ticking away. Has to be a crushing evening for Ron Newman. He's a prideful man. He felt he was wronged in this town. He wanted nothing more than to come back here and win the American Conference for San Diego. 10 seconds, ball ticking away in midfield. Fort Lauderdale with it now, a 3-on-1. They may punch one in here. They won't if they have any class. 1 second, time ticks away. The Fort Lauderdale Strikers have won the American Conference title. They will play the New York Cosmos next Sunday at 9 a.m. San Diego time for the North American Soccer League Championship. Fans coming on the field. A dejected San Diego soccer side going into the locker room. Peter O'Sullivan trading jerseys with Ray Hudson out on the 35-yard line.